Welcome to the Undisputed podcast. I'm your host, Jenny Taft. This podcast is the full show from today's episode of Undisputed from start to finish. They've got a busy slate, so skip Shannon, let's get to it.
Happy Wednesday, everybody, and welcome to Undisputed Live from Los Angeles. I'm Jen Hale here with Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharpe. Good morning, gentlemen.
Hi, Jen. Good morning, Jen. How you doing?
Where's the gloat mask?
For what?
Gloat man. This is your day.
For what? What I'm going for?
You're going to get another big free agent.
No.
This is it. The door just swung wide open. It's championship day here on Undisputed.
First of all,
the parade is tomorrow.
I'm going to save my enjoyment until June 30th, maybe the July 1st, and then I'll start gloating again. But you do know when you bang those papers on the desk, you make me more determined to beat the bricks off you.
I bang these papers because these are the winning hands. Boom!
It's a statement.
Over.
Oh, you think you get the winning hand?
Game's over. As soon as I do this, the game's over for the next 2.5 hours.
It's a royal flush hand. Yeah. Can't beat that.
Really?
Guys,
I'd flush it if I were you, too.
Let's get right into it this morning. Lots for you to talk about today. Lots. We're going to start off with the Lakers. Anthony Davis joining LeBron, of course, a huge deal, but it also comes with huge contracts, big money. The two make so much, there's not a lot of money left to go around for another top free agent like, say, a Kawhi, Kyrie, or Kemba. ESPN reporting the Lakers scrambling to create $32 million in cap space by July 6th to create another max slot. The Lakers are also shopping around 3 of their existing 5 contracts to try and clear up a little bit more cash. Shannon, tough situation. What should the Lakers do?
For me, Skip, I thought I've made my thoughts abundantly clear.
You did?
I don't like the fact, now, if this was Kyrie, you're trying to clear up cap space and you could lure Kyrie. If you could clear up cap space and you could lure Kawhi. But other than that, I would rather take that $23 million, $27 million, or $32 million in which they're trying to have and add quality depth. For me, I just don't look at Jimmy Butler and Kemba Walker as the superstars in the same breath if I look at Kawhi or I look at Kevin Durant, who's going to be out. I don't look at those guys as that. Kemba had an unbelievable season. We know with Jimmy Butler, he's one of the better two-way players, but I don't look at him as a superstar. They're not Kyrie. They're not Kawhi. So for me, I want depth. I think LeBron and Anthony Davis is plenty good enough. And Skip, you remember LeBron had this conversation about 3 years ago. He said, we are top-heavy as bleep.
He did.
I don't think he wants to go
through that whole roster right under the bus, backed over him.
You just can't.
Well, he did.
No, he did.
It was a terrible thing to say. That was in like January. Go ahead.
But I just believe, Skip, if you can get some players, okay, $32 million is what you can have if you try to clear a max slot. Add 3 or 4 players somewhere around, $6 to $8 million. Okay. So you can have some depth because we saw what happened. One team won because they had depth. Toronto, because you had Siakam, who's not a superstar, step up. Fred VanVleet, who's not a superstar, step up. Serge Ibaka played big in big moments.
He did.
The thing that hurt the Warriors, they got hurt, but they had no depth. You're asking Quinn Cook to play 28 minutes. Really? You're asking Von Looney, even though he's a great role player, he's playing multiple minutes on an injury. So the depth hurt them. I just believe if you get a J.J. Redick, you get a Jeremy Lamb or Patrick Beverly, Trevor Ariza, you try to fill your roster out with some 3-and-D guys that can knock down open shots. Okay. I just believe they would be better served doing it this way as opposed to adding Jimmy Butler or Kemba Walker.
Wow. Are you getting afraid of the pressure? I don't know what.
What pressure?
What is all this conventional wisdom from across the table?
Because we got
what is this arch conservatism?
We got 2 of the top 5 players. We can bring it home. Those 2 alone can bring it home. Now I need quality depth because, Skip, we're going to need some load management. LeBron James is not playing all 82.
So you agree with my point yesterday. Lots of load management. Lots of missed games.
Maybe 10.
Okay.
Maybe 10. That's okay.
You're going to revise your prediction of 56 wins? No?
We got AD. AD will bring us home.
Oh, okay. Well, he's been hurt and hurt and hurt some more. So I'm here to tell you I'm no big Laker fan, but I love the new strategy. I think this is exactly how to go for broke because your man, LeBron James, is not getting any younger. Father Time is tapping him on one shoulder. Just remember me? Yeah.
You don't
my groin hurts.
When you don't want to be disturbed and someone taps you on your shoulder,
Okay.
what do? Pretend like you don't hear them
ignore
or you
them,
don't
but
know.
can't
Exactly.
ignore that guy, man. I don't know.
Yeah, we can. Tom
Okay,
Brady doing it.
So here's the point. Laker management, laughing stock that it has been over the last couple of months, is sitting back saying, wait a second, the heavens just reopened. Kevin Durant is out of our way for the whole year, probably for the whole year.
Right.
I don't know. Will he have a miracle recovery?
No,
probably not.
He's not coming back.
Not on the Achilles rupture.
No.
So he's completely, the decks are completely cleared. We got one shot, and LeBron probably has 2 shots at another championship, but one big one because there's no KD. So all of a sudden, you go for broke.
They did. That's why they got AD. They went for broke.
No. You're going for the third star. You're going for the trio now because you're trying to create enough space to lure number 2 or Kyrie. Those two. And I agree with your assessment of the tiers of the free agents.
Yes.
Jimmy Butler doesn't quite do it for me, and Kemba definitely doesn't do it for me. But if you could get number 2, if you could get Kyrie, now you've got something. And again, it's going to be at the expense of your depth. You're going to have to add lots of minor role players and hope that they can play major roles.
Correct.
Okay, I get that. Would Carmelo do this for a veteran minimum? You know, would he come for just almost no money just to make one big run at a championship? He might.
Well, to have a job in the NBA again,
To have a
I'm
job,
sure he would.
okay? So that's what you're going to have to do. It would be that desperate for your quote-unquote depth. But if you could maximize your chances here, and I don't even want to discuss all the ways to do this because it's mind-boggling where you're trying to buy second-round picks, okay? And don't, whatever. But you're desperate to get David Griffin, the new GM in New Orleans, to back the trade up to the end of July.
Right.
That would maximize your cap space.
Right.
Now, why would David Griffin do that for you? Well, not because he loves you, because he doesn't love you. He might like you, but he does not love you, and he does happen to...
We operated in good faith.
Okay, but he does happen to play in the same conference you're in, so I don't know that he wants to hand you a championship in his conference. So, right now, Rob Pelinka is a puppet on David Griffin's string. Dance, Robbie, dance. That's what he's doing because he's got all the leverage in New Orleans because the Lakers are desperate. We've got a window. Let's take our shot. Let's max out. Let's see if we could get Kyrie. Let's see if we could even shoot the moon and get number 2 to come here instead of going to the Clippers. And how do you do that? You're going to have to buy that from David Griffin. And I want everybody to understand, this trade is not finished yet. There's a sort of a quote-unquote verbal handshake because that's all that's been done so far. You understand that?
Yes, I do.
Do you realize that David Griffin could now say, you know what? I will. I'll push the trade back, but I need Kyle Kuzma. That's what, it's not done yet. Yeah, I knew you were going to go, no. Why not? That's what I would ask for. I'd say throw in Kuzma and I'll do it.
No.
Okay?
Oh, you do understand. Skip, you do understand how this thing works now. You scratch my back, I'm going to scratch yours.
Well, nobody's back has been scratched yet.
Do you know who one of the most powerful agents rising in the NBA is, right?
The Kingmaker.
Yes.
Is that who you're talking about?
Richie Paul.
Richie Paul, the Kingmaker.
We will have more top-level clients.
Uh-huh.
Okay? Remember this, David Griffin.
Oh, so you're going to stick it to old David. Oh, that's how it works. I don't think he's scared at all. I don't think he's going to lose 1 second of sleep over that threat that you just implied.
Jen, my grandma used to have a saying. She said, boy, this toes you step on today might be connected to the foot that leads to the leg and the butt. You got to kiss tomorrow.
Okay.
So be careful how you treat people. You in the catbird seat.
David Griffin say you should kiss my you-know-what. That's what he's saying.
Right now, New Orleans, you're in the catbird seat. But you won't always be there.
Well, right now they are, and they should max it out. Because I'll scratch your back, but you got to really scratch mine. We need Kyle Kuzma.
No, see, I said scratch my back. You want a full-on body massage.
Well, okay.
No, we're not finna do that.
Right now, you got to massage that body because you need to go for broke here. Okay, so remember, the trade's still so not done that you're even risking right now, if you're the Lakers, that some other team could say, you know what, we offer this for Anthony Davis. Nothing's done yet. I'm just telling you it's possible.
Don't do that.
It is possible.
Would you do that? I mean, come on now.
Come on now.
In good faith. We're operating in good faith here. Well, something that we didn't do. The last general manager didn't do.
Operate in good faith?
No, and where is he?
Okay, remember, all is fair in love and NBA war. And this is war.
Where is there war, Skip? We got, look, You got a product, we have a product.
Okay.
Even swap isn't a swindle. You got B.I., you got Lonzo, you got the 4th pick in the draft, and 2 other first rounders. You make it seem like we swindled you. We did this, an even swap. We got AD, who we think is a top 5, top 6 player, and you got all these young players that you can build around.
Okay.
So what's the problem?
Okay, here's the biggest problem is the 4th overall pick belongs right now to the Los Angeles Lakers. It has been reportedly included in this deal. That's not done
yet.
Well,
we might pull that.
Okay, well, pull it and see what else gets pulled. Maybe the whole deal gets pulled off the table. And where is that going to leave you, Lakers? Nowhere. In lost land.
I mean, I've heard that the Pelicans have been receiving a lot of offers for that 4th pick.
Okay, well,
we might call around and see what y'all offer.
Okay, so if you're going to push the trade back to July 30th, that means you have to make the 4th pick, depending on what they tell you to do. Take so and so. Take Darius Garland, Vanderbilt University.
No, they weren't about. You know, we may. If you don't, from what I'm hearing, my reporting sources have told me that they worked out Darius Garland before they made this trade.
Okay.
So what that tell you, Skip?
I don't know.
You know what it tells
his
you.
Stock is through the roof right now because he's the next Kyrie Irving, but that's okay. That's a discussion for tomorrow. But the point is, if you push this trade back, then the Lakers are forced to take Darius Garland, whoever it is, and hold him for a month that he can't play in the summer league. Okay. So he just gets in limbo. He's limboized for a month, right?
He'll be an NBA player.
Okay.
He might not be able to play in the summer league, but that's okay. Cut down the risk of injury.
Okay. Now, speaking of risk, let's look at the Anthony Davis situation as it pertains to the kingmaker, Richie Paul, because he's now got conflict of interest everywhere because he's got LeBron over here, who's he butters all of his bread.
No,
and
he
he's
does
got
not.
this other client named Anthony Davis.
Right.
Okay?
He got John Wall. He got a lot of clients. He got the Morris brothers.
He's got Darius
Bledsoe.
Garland.
Yep.
Got you on that one, didn't I?
Yeah. Okay. Okay. You want to play hardball?
Yeah.
That's our client.
Okay.
I mean, that's Richie Paul.
Okay. So here's the point. As silly as this seems, as minuscule as this seems, Anthony Davis does have a $4 million trade kicker, and the Lakers are now desperate to get to around $32 million that they could offer to number 2 or Kyrie. Please come here, and we'll take care of you later, but this is the best we have right now. And you could team up with LeBron and AD and win a championship with the Lakers.
Let me tell you how we going to do this.
Just wait a second. You've got to void out your trade kicker. You just got to give it up.
We're going to do.
You got to let it go.
Let me tell you, see, I already worked this out.
Oh, you have?
Yes.
Okay.
We're going to let AD going to be in Space Jams 2.
Oh, okay.
We're going to compensate him about $10 million. The $4 million that he lost plus $6 million to come in and do the movie.
Okay.
See, that's how we do that.
He is going to waive his trade kicker. That's what are you telling me? Can I put that down?
That might be
Write
a
that in
possibility.
concrete right now?
Right now, we're exploring all the avenues of the way we can make this happen.
Okay, but AD, like LeBron, is saying principle is principle. I'm owed that money. I want my money. Even though it's only $4 million, it's still $4 million. It's a lot of money.
Yeah.
Yes. Now, again, next year, he will be remember, and he can go back and get his big money, right?
Yes.
Okay, so why would you sweat $4 million right now when you have a chance, maybe, if you're Anthony Davis, if you're wise enough at your still young age to realize this could be your best shot at winning an NBA title is right here, right now with this team this year with no KD on the horizon, right?
Right.
So what's $4 million? Why are you even hanging in with this?
Our money, Skip.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Why does Tom Brady take so much less money? Why does he take a
Because his
hometown
wife,
discount?
with Anthony Davis' fiance girlfriend, not worth $400 million.
Okay, but Tom Brady could say, principle is I deserve more than Kirk Cousins does. Well, sure he does. He's the best quarterback in football. He just won his
but I get
sixth.
your point.
Huh?
He's not. I understand your point you're trying to make.
Okay.
I wouldn't go that far.
What did I tell you for years, the last 5 years of Tim Duncan's career in San Antonio? He just said, just pay me the minimum. I don't care. Just pay me nothing.
Right.
I want to win championships.
Skip, I don't have a problem if a guy comes and says, I'm willing to take, but don't put that in front of me. I will tell you, guys, in order to make this thing work so we can add quality depth, this is what I'm willing to do. But don't you ask me. That's not your place.
Why not?
Cause I don't ask you to come to let the fans have free night.
Okay. Well, why doesn't LeBron James say, give me less than the max?
No.
Why would he say, give me, what's he make now? I lose
35.1.
35.1.
Stop counting the man's
Give me
pocket.
$35 million. LeBron, You make $55 million off the court.
Trying to get to 100.
It's the equivalent of being married to Giselle is off the court for LeBron. Like he's married to all that Maverick Carter stuff off the court.
Yes.
So what do you need your 35.1 for? Why don't you take 20?
Didn't LeBron do
Think
that?
what you can do.
LeBron did that. LeBron did that for 4 years. He took less than the max when he was in Miami.
Slightly, yes.
Wait.
But they all did.
Okay. So
did
LeBron James.
Dwayne,
LeBron says, hold on, wait a minute. Yeah. I'm not an owner. I'm not even part owner. Why am I making concessions trying to figure out what they should do? That's your job. You get paid for that. Now, my job is to play at a very high level, which I'm going to do, and I want to be compensated at a very high level, which you will do. Okay.
And I'm telling you, Mr. James, that you're not going to win any more championships if you keep taking the max.
We're going to win. We're about to win the next 2.
Okay. Are you?
Yeah.
Do we have due on 2, or do we just have due on 1?
We got 1.
Okay.
We're going to get that one out of the way.
Another
it gets a lot easier once you get that first one. The first one is really hard.
Okay. So you're telling me right here, right now, if I gave you the choice, I'd say you could have number 2 on your team, or you can have Patrick Beverly and Danny Green and Mirotic. I don't know.
Stop it.
Who do you want?
You know I want number 2.
You do?
Yes.
Well, take him.
But Skip, it's been reported. Look, you and I both know how this works. These deals are already being talked about. These deals are already being worked out. So come June 30th, we're going to know where the puzzle is already being assembled. Now, it's being reported that Kawhi, and so, they're talking to Kawhi's agent, his Uncle Dennis. They're talking to Kyrie's people. So come June 30th, Skip, this thing was just like, man, they must have been talking because this thing shaped up really fast. So you know that. So why travel down a path that that's going to lead you nowhere, as opposed to going in a different direction where you might get a head start on someone before they say, you know what, but I promised Brooklyn I was going to sign with them, or I promised this team I would sign with them. Maybe you get a head start, and then when other teams come calling, well, I've already told LeBron I was going to come to the Lakers. Do it like that. If we can get Kyrie or Kawhi, hell yeah, clear up $32 million. But if you can't, give me 4 or 5 role players, quality depth.
So you admitted that you like my argument more than your argument.
No. Because I already know the argument that you're making is futile.
You think it's unrealistic?
Yes.
Well, there's a lot of reporting today that they're just scrambling like mad to get to $32 million.
But Skip, scrambling to get $32 million, they're saying they want to create a max slot. That means they have $32 million to spend on one player or $32 million to spend on 4 or 5 players. If I can get Kawhi, if I can get Kyrie, Skip, under your scenario, okay, I like it.
Okay.
But under the scenario, I got to get Jimmy Butler, or I got to get Kemba Walker, or give me those 4 other players. Give me the 4 other players.
I'm with you, but the point is, number 2 or Kyrie, you'd shoot the moon.
Yes.
You'd go for broke.
Yes.
Because, boy, I would too. I might even consider giving up Kyle Kuzma to get number 2. I would.
Oh, yeah. But
I would.
Skip, stop.
I would.
Yes, I would too.
Well, okay, you would too.
Yeah.
Well, you admit it.
Yeah.
Okay, David Griffin, are you watching? You heard it from the horse's mouth.
Hold on. First of all,
speak for Clutch.
First of all,
right?
David Griffin does not have anything to do with Kawhi. Hell, if all it took was us to give up Kyle Kuzma, and Kawhi said, you know what, Genie Bus, LeBron, y'all give up Kuzma, I'm coming. Man, LeBron driving him to the airport himself. As a matter of fact, LeBron's going to fly him to wherever he needs to go on the private jet.
Okay.
But that's not a guarantee. David Griffin does not have Kawhi's right. Kawhi has earned the right, Skip, after doing what he did, after going through what he went through a year and a half ago, to do what he did. He's earned the right to go anywhere he wants to and to be unquestioned.
Okay.
Now, if we could get him with $32 million, now what he can get? 4? He can get 4 for $141, which is about, what, $35 a year? Okay. So somehow we're going to have to come up with another $3-4 million from somewhere.
Let's see, Anthony Davis, $4 million. There it is.
I know. That Skip, I'm saying, even if AD were to say, you know what, keep the little $4 million. I'll make it somewhere else. That's still $32 million. We need another $3 million from somewhere else. You got to lose money laying around over there, you can help us out. See,
not for number 2, I don't.
And I'll remind you of the money AD left on the table turning down that Supermax
yes!
in New Orleans.
So that tells you he want to win. That tells you what he about, Skip.
And I'll tell you one thing about number 2. He did grow up a Laker fan, not a Clipper fan, a Laker fan. So in his heart of hearts, he is always, as a little kid, he envisioned himself in purple and gold, not playing for the Clippers, right?
I mean, cornrows look better in purple and gold.
Well, they probably do. I will give you that. They look better on that stage. You know, it just looks better.
Yeah.
So you've got an inroad there. You've got an inside advantage because his childhood dream was to play for the Lakers.
Yeah.
So you got a shot. If you can open the slot up, I think he would think about it.
He just got that $13 million crib in Rancho Santa Fe.
Yep.
I tell you what we do, Kawhi. We're going to split it with you. Helicopter rides to and from practice and the game.
That's illegal.
Shannon, you
Who said that?
You
That's
have
illegal.
a new
Yeah.
career as a broker, a deal broker.
That's a
if you've
salary
ever
cap
won.
violation.
No, it's
you
not.
can't do
We
that.
got to wrap, guys.
You can't do
We've got
that.
more to talk about, including Shaq, who had some intriguing
did he?
comments about AD.
Love this.
We're going to show that to you up next. And don't forget, check us out every day on the Fox Sports channel on SiriusXM. We'll be right back.
No mercy.
The Anthony Davis trade catapulted the Lakers into the odds-on favorite to win it all. So expectations are sky high here in LA. Yes, AD is a six-time All-Star, but he's won just one playoff series in his career. Shaquille O'Neal was on First Things First yesterday and said, "Whew, the pressure is on." Take a listen.
When you're deemed as a great player, you're expected to win. And no excuses. Nobody cares if you're hurt. Nobody cares if your other teammates ain't stepping up. You're expected to win. Now in LA, when you go to LA and you play with the best player in the world, you're expected to win. When you play for a franchise such as Boston, LA, even Miami Heat, you know, you can throw it to them, and Golden State, you're expected to win.
Shannon, you agree with Shaq?
100%. And Shaq also mentioned he's going to play with another great player. He said, best player in the game. That's what Shaq said. Now, I'm not here to dispute Shaq when he says something. Shaq said,
I guess technically he's right because Kevin Durant's out. So
no. Best player of the game. That's what Shaq said. But Shaq is absolutely right. Anthony Davis wants to win. Jen mentioned it earlier. He forego $34 million. Had an opportunity to get $239. He's going to have to settle next year for $205. He was willing to forego that to have an opportunity to play on a big stage. He says, I'm more concerned with my legacy than my payday. He made that abundantly clear, didn't he, Skip Bayless? He said, I want out. And he took avenues to make sure he could have someone that could help him get out, Skip. Get out.
Okay.
Yeah, out of there. So, with that being said, when you play for the Lakers, and as a big, this goes back to Minneapolis, Skip, you go Mikan, you go Chamberlain, you go Jabbar, you go Shaq.
Ooh.
Anthony Davis is considered a big.
He is.
When you go to LA and you are big, you are required, you are expected, you are demanded to deliver a title. Anthony Davis knows what the expectations are. He's fully aware of those expectations. I expect him and LeBron James to deliver what LeBron said last year. His goal was to bring a title to the Lakers. Anthony Davis says, I want to play winning basketball for a franchise that's going to put me in situation, because this is not just about LeBron. This is also about the transition from when LeBron leaves. Now we're in place. We got a 26-year-old that can step right in, and he'll be the pillar of the Lakers for years to come.
Pillar.
The pillar. So with that being said, Skip Bayless, I have no doubt in my mind, Anthony Davis, AD, was fully aware of what he was getting himself into.
You think so?
And he knows, if I'm going to a fight, Skip, there are certain people, like if you go into a fight where you say, you know what, give me Mike Tyson, give me Johnny Bones Jones. Well, that's what AD got. He came to the Lakers knowing he was going to have to get into a fight, and he got Johnny Bones Jones and Mike Tyson in their prime. Yep. He got a guy that can go to battle with him.
Me, LeBron's more of a lover than a fighter.
Whatever.
I don't know.
He
He can play basketball. I don't know about fighting.
He put them paws. See, LeBron don't want to put them paws on people, because once you put paws on people, Skip, it changes the perception of how people view you.
Really?
Yes.
Well, maybe they'd be more afraid of him.
No. You don't want no. We talking about the general public. We talking about the consumer, because LeBron is a pitch man. He got to sell products. You don't want to buy no product from a man that put paws on another man, do you?
Well, do you want to buy products from a man who keeps spitting out F-bombs and S-A?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know about that.
I mean, a little curse word here and there. Skip, everybody curses here.
Everybody curses.
Look
Okay.
here, there.
I don't know. So I cannot tell you how much I disagree with every point you just made, because there's the oldest saying of all, which is, be careful what you wish for. I believe he wished upon a star. Take me to Hollywood. Please, Richie Paul, get me out of here. Get me to LeBron. He has no earthly idea what he just got himself into. Ask Dwight Howard what he got himself into, because once upon a time, Dwight said, going to Hollywood. How'd that work out?
Now, the white mindset ain't like AD. AD,
No?
yeah.
Okay, I don't know about that.
Dwight Howard want to joke, and he want to be a stand-up comedian. He want to key and do all that playing around. AD coming to get that work in.
Kobe would not stand for it,
Right.
Kobe said no, and Laker Nation condemned Dwight, right?
Right.
Dwight just can't live up to our standards. All of a sudden, Anthony Davis, just forgive me for saying this, but New Orleans is the equivalent of the NBA shadows when it comes to pressure and expectation.
Right.
So he just went from the shadows to the brightest, hottest spotlight in all of sports. All of sports.
No question.
And it's the LeBron Lakers spotlight in Hollywood because of the tradition and the legacy of the big men. That even doubles the pressure on Anthony to live up to that, let alone to live up to LeBron. I've told you from the start, the man you call the GOAT has always had a scapegoat. Everywhere. It was Chris Bosh in Miami. The first time around in Cleveland, it was the whole roster. Everybody was a scapegoat.
Really? Was that roster good?
Yeah. It was decent. It was pretty good.
Decent.
Yeah, it was
Okay.
decent. They got swept by my Spurs, but that was LeBron's fault. But he never gets blamed, and that is the point. LeBron, no figure in the history of sports has ever been more protected by the media than LeBron James has. The media loves LeBron. Why? I don't know.
Did they hate Jordan? Did they hate Magic
didn't
and
love
Bird?
him. They kind of hated to love Jordan.
They love Magic and Bird.
Okay, different vibe, because they were rivals, so somebody had to win, and there was no real loser in that one. Like you root for one side.
LeBron got no contemporary.
Okay, got no contemporary.
He got none.
Kevin Durant, but he's completely unlovable, right? He makes himself more unlovable by the day until he finally got hurt, and maybe he became something of a sympathetic figure because he finally ruptured his Achilles tendon, right? So in LeBron's case, he plays the media like a violin, like a virtuoso violin, because he gets what happens is he constantly drops hints on social media. How many followers does he have? Like 50. He's got 43 million on Twitter and 50 on IG. So that's a lot of followers, and he's constantly dropping passive-aggressive hints of, I don't have enough help.
He said that one time. He said that one time.
It's his constant refrain. It's the constant default position for LeBron James. I just don't have enough help. He's not living up, but it's always subtle between the lines, and it allows the media and all of his followers just to leap to the conclusion, his fault. He's letting him down, because LeBron can't fail, but when he epic fails, it has to be, it's Anthony's fault. Watch what happens. He'll become the new Kevin Love. You were all over Kevin Love day after day after day. Kevin Love's a really good player. Really good. He's an all-star. Huh?
Anthony Davis is great.
Okay, he's better certainly than Kevin Love, but Kevin Love's pretty good. Kevin Love just got dumped on right and left day after day.
At least Anthony Davis could get his team to the playoffs. He might have didn't win but one series. What was Kevin Love doing in Minnesota?
Nothing. 6 years, nothing. No playoffs. I got it. But then he was a key piece. He did a lot of good things for LeBron
He did a lot
James.
of bad things, too.
Yeah, he did a lot of good things. He was a reason that they won the championship.
I'm not here to poo-poo on Kevin Love. Kevin Love, he helped. The trade proved to be wise. Letting Andrew Wiggins go to Minnesota for Kevin Love was the best thing. They didn't think about it at the time, but it was one of the best things. Skip, you mentioned, say, the bright lights of Hollywood. It's almost like, Skip, performing at the YMCA and then going to Broadway. It doesn't get any better than Broadway. You know, you performing at the YMCA, that's what, like, he's a really good actor for the Y. But then you go to Broadway, you're like, he's terrible.
Yeah, and you're talking about the Y. You're not even talking about off-Broadway. You're talking about
the YMCA.
Y all the way to Broadway.
Yes.
I would agree with your analogy in this case.
Yes.
Because you're going to wake up and say, wow. And now the syndrome starts, because most people think LeBron is the GOAT. I don't know if most. Today's media thinks he's the GOAT. Well, that means that AD has now assumed the title of scapegoat.
No.
Whether he likes it or not, he is the new scapegoat.
Let me ask you a question. When Jordan lost, did they blame Scottie Pippen?
Nope.
Okay, then.
Never,
So they're not going to blame AD?
No, it's different. Very different, because everybody knew it was Michael or bust. And when did he lose? Let's see. He went to finals. Oh, he won all 6.
Well,
He got 6 MVPs.
Well,
so who's to blame?
Well, Scott, before Scotty got there, he got swept in the first round all 3 times.
Yeah.
But that's nothing.
Then what happened when those? When he grew up.
When he came back.
Yeah.
And they had a 2-1 lead, and then they beat the brakes off him. You remember Orlando with Shaq and Penny and Nick Anderson? The last remember I have of him. He got to having the ball stole from him by Nick Anderson, and he dunked it on him. You remember that?
Are you still trying to fight this battle? You've lost it so many times. It's lame. It's ancient. It's prehistoric. It's over.
Title.
You lost.
When we get this title, then what are you going to say then?
Well, that's nothing, because I don't have to say anything, because it's not going to happen.
That's going to happen.
Yeah.
I know that's. You know what? You might even be more upset with Bron and AD winning a title than you was Kawhi. How will you survive this 2 years in a row? And I'm gonna be right here beating that drum.
Really?
Skip, it's 2 years in a row.
50 cases. You want to up it?
No, I'm good.
Make it 75.
I'm
I'll take it right now.
I'm good right here.
You've got a chance to get number 2. Yeah, but you don't want to take that chance because you don't want the pressure to mount on your man.
First of all, if we were to get Kawhi, LeBron, and AD, we'd win 75 games. You know that, I know that. So I don't want.
Are you going to play 3-on-5?
No,
right?
Even with some role players, what are they going to do? Look at it. We got 2 of the top 5 defensive players in all of basketball. Yeah. We got the number 1 and at worst case, number 3 two-way player in all of basketball.
Yeah, and you know what you'd have? You'd have 3 guys who can't close. That's what you'd have.
Skip.
Yeah.
We know that LeBron James is the best playoff closer in all of basketball. He made more clutch game-winning shots than anybody.
Actually, that is false.
That's not very false.
You know what? You'd actually be better off with Kyrie than number 2, because he can close.
Well, why didn't he close for Boston?
He did a lot.
Well, I couldn't tell.
Yeah.
Won one game against the Bucks and just got up out of dodge.
Yeah. Well, right now we're talking about Anthony Davis. Be careful what you just wished for, because you got it.
Well, that's what I wished for.
You got it times 10, times 1,000.
That's what I wished for.
Yeah.
Okay. I used to lay in my bed at night thinking, man, I sure wish I can get on a show where I can bust Skip up on the daily.
Yeah.
And God would ask about every day. He said, Shannon, are you sure? I said, God, if you just give me that one opportunity, I promise you I'll bust him up on the red.
I just can't wait for that first night when LeBron James browbeats the brow after the game.
What happened?
Furrowed brow, knitted brow. He'll just look sideways at him.
Skip.
And the media will say,
"Ah,
it's his fault."
Don't you know we in Brentwood right now? We talking. We getting games in right now that nobody know about. You do know that, right? We working on that high pick and roll. We working on pick and pops. We got all this going. It's going to happen.
You're already working on it?
Working.
Really? The trade's not finalized.
Don't worry about it.
Realize that.
We can do it whatever we want the offseason. NBA can't do anything about that. That's not a salary cap restriction. We can play with whomever we want to. Pick up basketball, so it's a pickup game.
Kuzma playing?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, he might be a Pelican pretty soon.
Well, he might.
Well, Skip, I think it's an excellent point.
Yeah.
Protections that New Orleans afforded Anthony Davis, and I don't think LA will provide that soft landing pad if there's a problem.
We will provide it. You want what
Time
you want?
will tell. Time will tell. All right, gentlemen. The drama in Houston not going away anytime soon. Yahoo reports the relationship between James Harden and Chris Paul is, quote, unsalvageable. The report adds CP3 went to management, demanded a trade, while Harden issued a him or me edict. So, and to make things even worse, reportedly, Harden and CP3 went 2 months without speaking to each other during the season. Now, Harden hasn't returned CP3's attempts at communication this offseason. Shannon, what should Houston do about this situation?
Go back in a time machine and leave Chris Paul butt where he was, right here in L.A., and let somebody else take that.
Good point.
That's what they should do. Yep. Skip, I don't really know what they can do now, Skip. $41.3 million over the next 3 years. And for a 34-year-old point guard that's missed an average of 23 games over the last 3 seasons, and we know come playoff time, Skip, the deeper they run, the greater chance is that Chris Paul will come up with a hamstring or groin or some type of injury. That's what his history says.
Yep.
Skip, James Harden said something very interesting after the Game 6 loss to Golden State. Skip, DJ, can we drop that track right quick?
Way to go.
Yeah, Skip, I don't know.
You actually did some homework for this show?
Can we get that, DJ?
Either the way you guys play or what you can take from these experiences that gets you the next step that they've stopped each time?
I know what we need to do. I know exactly what we need to do. Just we'll figure it out this summer.
The reporter had a follow-up question. You said you know exactly what you need to do. You care to elaborate? No, I don't. And he got up and walked off. That's what they need to do, Skip. We talked about when the trade went down, Skip. We like, how is James Harden going to play and Chris Paul going to play together? What seemed to be on the court of them playing together was fraying at the seams behind the scene. And now all of a sudden, Skip, this is too specific. Everybody's coming out, nah, that's not true. I didn't demand this. I didn't demand that. James Harden's looking at Chris Paul. What do you mean? What you need to call me for? You want to be traded? You need to call Daryl Morey. Skip, James Harden is what he is. James Harden is not going to change the way he plays. He can't. That's what he is. Skip, he's a quarterback. He needs the ball in order to be successful.
Yep.
Tom Brady, let Sonny Michel rush for 300 yards. I'd rather him run for 250 than Tom Brady have the ball in his hand throwing for 400 because I know what's going to happen. You can't make James Harden the guy that plays off the ball. That's not what he's good at. So you're asking James Harden to all of a sudden to reinvent himself when he's won an MVP. He's finished second in the MVP voting. Hadn't got him any championships. And let me tell you before I turn it over to you, Skip. This is what we know. Teams and players will stomach a lot as long as you're delivering titles. Kobe and Shaq beefed, but what were they delivering, Skip? And the moment they couldn't deliver that anymore, Dr. Buzz broke it up. He's like, I ain't gonna deal with this bickering. We ain't winning no titles. Y'all can go back and forth all you want to, but three-peat. I'm good with that. Skip, Dennis Rodman, he was dressing up in a wedding dress and had his fingernails painting and doing all kind of things. He delivered titles to Detroit. He delivered titles in Chicago. Oh, he helped. But the moment he took his shoes off on the sideline, Skip, and was laying back in his chair, the Lakers got him up out of there. San Antonio got him up out of there.
They did.
So in other words, production, as long as production is high, tolerance will be high. Tolerance will never be higher than production. So what are we getting out of this, Skip? One guy's making 42, 43 million, the other guy's making 41 million, and we ain't got no titles to show for it. Damn this bickering. One of y'all got to go. We know who that one is, but good luck trying to move a 34-year-old point guard that's making $41.3 million a year.
So now I know why James Harden blew up Chris Paul's microwave and set his kitchen on fire. All right?
That was
Now
no
I know
accident.
why. Every time I see that commercial, I think, God, that's terrible. But maybe there's some truth to it. And now I can't figure out how those two managed to stay in the same room long enough to make all those commercials together. Because the reports are this has been going on for 2 years.
Yes.
There was the one report yesterday that it got so bad in practice going back 2 years ago that Chris Paul was making fun of James' man boobs in practice to the point that he broke down in tears and had to leave a couple of practices. Man. Okay, that's when you're hitting bottom, right?
Yeah.
Okay, these are things that happen. We talked about the Kevin Durant, Draymond on the bench versus the Clippers. Those are the kind of things where the bridge burns to the ground and you can't even begin to rebuild it, right?
Yeah, it's Chernobyl. Even the ground is contaminated.
The ground, that is correct. Okay, this ground is permanently contaminated.
Yes.
I don't see how you can do the Shaq Kobe, okay, we'll coexist because we know we can win next year's championship. I just don't see it. And look, Shaq and Kobe, they could each play. You know, they could hold up their end of the bargain.
Right.
So there had to be some respect between the lines because did Shaq know Kobe could play? Sure he did. Did Kobe know Shaq? Oh, he definitely knew Shaq.
You said something very interesting in your statement just then. You said respect. Shaq and Kobe, they had respect for one another. Do these two guys have enough respect for one another where you make an attack personal? And then when it got personal between Shaq and Kobe, one of them had to go. When Kobe got involved in what he got involved in Eagle, Colorado, and he brought Shaq into the equation, Skip, now all of a sudden, hold on, wait a minute.
That's true. That was a bridge burner.
It was. You got to go.
No, you're right. So in this case, I still hark back to Daryl Morey is still revered as one of the top GMs in basketball because he's third-level analytics, right?
Yes.
He speaks at the Sloan Conference at MIT. Well, was this third-level analytics to give Chris Paul just a summer ago? He gave him this deal. It's massive. Like you said, it's 38.5 next year, going to 41.3, going to 44.2. It's guaranteed. You owe him all this money. And he's starting to look, to me, washed up. Like he's not only lost a step, but he doesn't take great care of himself. He just looks like just another guy.
Right.
And so James is losing respect for him as a player.
Right.
And obviously Chris doesn't have a lot of respect for James's style of play because he's the greatest solo act we may have ever seen.
Yep.
Right? Because he's just going to dribble it to death, and he's often going to score it at the expense of Chris Paul.
But I thought, Skip, when you give a guy a contract, you're not just looking at, okay, this guy's been an all-star, he's been an all-NBA player, blah, blah, blah. Aren't you looking at, okay, in 3 years, will he be worth what this contract says we're paying him?
How can you do that?
Yes.
What are you thinking? You know, that's, for me, that's a fireable offense. Like, I would look at that. You have sabotaged my franchise.
Right.
If I'm the owner for Tita, you
Right.
know, like I'm going
Right.
to say, wait a second. We keep talking about the coach. Should I bring the coach back? And we're at odds over his contract. What about that contract?
Yeah.
How are you going to overcome it?
No one is really happy there. I mean, because if they were so happy with D'Antoni, they'd have done gave him a contract. Now he's taking off, he's like, okay, I'm calling off negotiations.
Yep.
Now they want to get him back on. But Skip, I just don't know how you make this work. Once it becomes personal, once it becomes there, I don't have a, because I can work with someone, Skip, as long as I got a healthy respect for them.
Yeah.
I ain't got to like a person. The hell, I didn't like everybody I played with, but I respected them enough. Once it becomes, in this situation where it's only 12 guys, Skip.
Yep.
And it's not like an offensive player in football and a defensive player that really never come in contact.
Yep.
Skip, how do you do it? And it was reported that James Harden likes to shoot by himself after practice. And Chris Paul got a teammate, one of the rookies, and they started playing one-on-one on the court that James Harden was shooting. Yeah. Now, Skip, we've seen NBA arena practice facilities. They got like 20 goals up. And you go get on the one. And am I surprised? Because remember, it was reported that Steph Curry wanted to shoot at night. And Chris Paul put the kibosh to that.
Good point.
So okay, that's not as far-fetched as it might have seemed at the time.
Yep.
Chris Paul seemed real petty. We've let Chris Paul get away with a lot.
I agree.
Because he hit the guy in the private in college.
Hit
And
the
he's
guy
been
in the
doing
private.
things like that for the longest time. And we Chris, he's so small. He's so cute and cuddly. Nah, somebody need to put hands on Chris Paul to make him
Remember
stop his
the
foolishness.
play at the end? I'm going back like 7 years ago, but the end is the end of a closeout series against Memphis.
Yeah.
I think Chris was still in. No, he's first year with the Clippers, I believe. And he hit Gasol in the privates at the end of the game. Just took a sucker punch at it. You know, come on, really?
But we overlook that. Oh,
Okay.
he's the president of the Players Association. I get all that fine
Yeah.
and good. But you know what? I'm a firm believer. Two things can be true.
Yeah.
He can be the president of the
I
Players
agree.
Association,
I
and he
agree.
can still be dirty.
Yeah, I think he's done great things as the leader of that
Yes, I
organization.
totally
I
agree.
have nothing but highest regard.
Yes.
But I've often called him CP0, as in 0 rings, and he brings it upon himself because he's always feuding with Blake Griffin. Wherever he goes, he's in a feud with somebody.
Yeah.
He's difficult. He pesters people. He needles people. He's going to play one-on-one under the goal you're shooting at. It's like open warfare. He's hard to deal with. Unless he can play at an all-star level, I don't think he can.
Yeah.
Which means, how are you going to get out from under this? I've seen 20 trade scenarios this morning that people have proposed. And every scenario, I look at it and say, okay, and why would the other team, even if the other team wants to get rid of those 2 contracts, you want to take that one on?
Right.
Really?
Yeah.
So like the Miami scenario that got proposed by, I can't remember who it was, but Hassan Whiteside and Goran Dragic back to Houston for Capella and this contract of CP3s. Well, why would Pat Riley take this on? Can he salvage?
Because he only has one more year of Whiteside and Dragic.
Okay.
But you're going to have 2 more years after this with Chris Paul
Okay.
and the Clint Capella.
Okay, is it worth it?
No.
Can you get a championship out of Chris Paul at age 35? I don't think so. So I don't see how you can't give him away. I mean, short of just cutting him, and then you against your cap, you owe him all that money.
You owe him
right?
all that money.
Okay.
Well, now he's going to start to be known as CPP.
Yeah.
Chris Petty Paul.
Petty Paul.
Because he really petty if he's going to go play one-on-one under the basketball when there's 10 other baskets that you can go play while James Harden is shooting.
This is really sad and sorry. And for one, I've never been the biggest James Harden fan because in the clutch and big playoff games, we've seen him fade again and again. But I'm becoming a bigger and bigger James fan now because of Chris.
Does this explain what happened in the end of Game 5 and how they couldn't close out when Kevin Durant went down and what happened in Game 6?
Probably.
Could this be the underlying current that caused this ripple?
Sure, it could be. It's hard to win a game like that when you're at war with each other.
And if you in the montage that we were playing, look at how all the players were standing back looking.
Yeah.
Like, They're actually doing this right now on the sideline in a ball game.
Okay. So back to the State Farm commercials. How do you keep these two separated long enough to then get them on camera to do these commercial shoots? You don't think it takes some juggling of egos to do that?
Chris Paul said, I hate I brought you on. I should have got Capella.
Yeah, that's what he would be saying. But they're paying both of them so much money, I guess they both just say, just suck it up.
Yeah.
We'll get through this.
Some
right?
poor producer needed an aspirin after that
I think
shoot.
so.
For what it's worth, Daryl Morey is denying these things, saying he conveys his disdain and he's so annoyed with the arguments at this point for whatever you want to take.
I thought he said tension was good. Now, just the other day, Skip, he said the tension was good. You need tension. Now, all of a sudden, he's downplaying everything that's being brought up. After you, man, Daryl, come on, bro.
All right, guys, we're turning back to the NFL in our next segment. Brett Favre.
Here we
Is he
go
considering
again.
a comeback? Huh.
Really?
Sort through that one.
Really?
No mercy.
This Instagram post from Brett Favre yesterday suggested he was returning to the field. The post said, a true champion sticks to his or her calling. I'll be coming out of retirement and making my return to play in the NFL for the 2020 season. Stay tuned for more news. Favre deleted the post and told DMZ he was hacked. Favre is now 49, turns 50 in October, hasn't played since 2010. Shannon, what do you make of this one?
Skip, I'm not buying this story. Brett was upset that we was giving Aaron Rodgers a little attention yesterday talking about him.
Oh, it was our fault.
Yeah. It was a slow news day. He's like, well, man, I need me some attention. They talk about a Green Bay quarterback. Let me get in on the fray. Skip, I don't know if anybody remember. Do they remember the last time Brett Favre played? Brett Favre had 11 touchdowns, 19 interceptions. He was 29th out of 31 quarterbacks in QBR. Skip, that was 9 years ago. They think Brett Favre, and then he go turn around, I was hacked. Let me tell you what. If I'm going to hack something, I'm hacking Goldman Sachs. I'm hacking Deutsche Bank. You know what I'm saying, Skip? That's what I'm going to do.
I wouldn't recommend that if I were you.
I'm hacking Wells Fargo. Normally, when people hack people's personal accounts, they're going to get revealing details. Maybe they get, some photos. Or maybe, Skip, you said something and you're like, I was hacked. You said something derogatory. You said something demeaning. You used a slur. Well, I was hacked. Why the hell somebody gonna hack you and put that up? Of all the things they could have put up, Skip, they gonna put up you're returning to the NFL.
Yeah.
Brett, you need to stop. First of all, let me tell you why we know Brett Favre is not coming. Skip, have you seen those commercials? He got copper fit on both knees, on his elbow, and on his shoulder. Anybody that's wearing copper fit, they need to be in a nursing home, not in an NFL field. That's first and foremost. I don't even want to say
He
anything.
is marketing the product.
Yeah, he used the product.
Yeah, okay.
When you play that many consecutive games and you took the pounding that he took, you're not coming back in today's game, Skip Bayless. So we already know what he's wearing those products. You saw him out there. And then he got those Wrangler jeans. You'll see him when he got his shirt tucked in his pants. Anybody that wear Wranglers with their shirt tucked in, they're not playing NFL football. I can assure you that.
There's a rule against that?
Yeah, they're granddad.
I did not know
Granddads
that.
do not play in the NFL. Brett Favre is a granddad.
Does he have a granddad belly?
Yeah. Oh, no.
He does not.
No.
No.
He got a granddad bod. Yeah. That's even worse than a belly. Because there are a lot of guys that got bellies in the NFL that can play. But granddad bods is what will keep you off the field.
Yep. So, because we're talking about a Brett Favre who loves to fish, I'm going to use an angler's analogy here, if I might. I believe that yesterday, Brett Favre decided to cast his line way, way, way out there into the middle of the lake and see if anyone out there in the NFL would bite. And then he's going to reel it back in real fast just to make sure that, I got hacked. Nope. This was not an April Fool's joke on June the 18th. This was not tongue-in-cheek. This was not a practical joke. I believe he went fishing yesterday because I believe in Brett Favre's heart of hearts, he would try if somebody would then come to him and say, hey, Brett, come to camp. Come show us what you got. If somebody would bite, he would go because I think he watches Tom Brady right now going on 42 years of age on August the 3rd, having just won his 6th Super Bowl. And Tom Brady continues to say, I'm going to play until I'm 45, and there's no end in sight.
But Skip,
Am I right?
But Brett Favre is about to be 50.
Okay. Brett Favre has one of the biggest egos in the history of your sport.
Yes,
Am I right?
he does.
So listen, I have worked with not dozens, hundreds of ex-athletes, and this I know, and I believe you will attest to this. There is nothing like actually playing your sport. You can't find anything else in life. You can sit there all day, every day. You can do this show for 12 hours a day, and it would not live up to what you felt on the rush of a game day.
No, you're absolutely right.
There's nothing like the fame and the fortune and the idolatry and just the competition. There's nothing like it. You can't even approximate it in your afterlife, right?
That's the hardest thing what athletes struggle with, Skip, is that the adrenaline rush they get from playing their particular sport.
Yeah.
What am I going to do now? You've been doing it for so long. You've been doing it since you're probably 10 years old. Some guys are younger than that. And you did. And Brett Favre played till he was 40. So he did that for 30 years. And now all of a sudden, there is no clapping. There's no appreciation.
No.
He's out there in his, he has a big farm and he's
got a big farm.
cutting grass.
How many fields can you plow on how many John Deeres? Seriously.
80,000.
After a while, how many? It just gets monotony. And nobody calls. The phone doesn't ring. And you're saying, do they remember who I was?
Yeah.
And then
make him look good.
I think most Green Bay fans have sort of arrived at the conclusion that Aaron Rodgers is better than Brett Favre. It just feels like that to me. I don't know. I can't speak for them, but it feels like that, right?
He is.
And by the way, the story we did yesterday on Aaron Rodgers was a very negative story about how he's about to fire another head coach, right? The 39-year-old, Matt LaFleur. But in this case, it smacks of a guy who's approaching the magic age, a magical 50. You know how it feels.
I'm about to be 51 a week from today.
Okay, a week. It is? Uh-oh. Now we got to celebrate your birthday?
Yeah, we got to celebrate old Goat Man.
I might have to take that day off.
For what?
I don't know.
I work on your birthday.
Oh, do you? Yeah, you don't know until you get here, and then you're stuck, right? That's the truth. I just told you.
Yeah,
that is true.
He don't want anybody to know his birthday. He don't want to celebrate.
Yeah.
Why you don't do that?
Here's the point. Brett Favre does stay in really good shape for his age.
Yes.
He just does.
Yes.
And he does it by just doing manual labor on the farm.
Yes.
And to me, he looks pretty good. And to me, his career got ended because of that beating he took, number one, in the NFC Championship game on the Bounty Bowl day, right?
Yes.
It was hellacious what happened. Peter King reported that he was in the locker room after the game, and Brett Favre couldn't get off the training. He couldn't get up to walk to the bus.
Because, Skip, you remember, I think he finished second in the MVP voting to, might have been Tom Brady that year, 33-7.
Yeah.
Had that great year. He came back.
It was. Well, this is 09.
Yeah, because 09 he was his last year because he retired in 10. So 2008 would have been the great year he had.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
So the game took place in 2009. But the point is, I don't think he ever recovered from that.
No.
But if I know Brett Favre, so many years have passed, he probably wakes up now and says, you know what, I feel pretty good now. Like he feels like he's healed up from that beating that he took.
You know what, Skip? I wake up sometimes and look at myself and say, you know what, Shannon? You're in pretty good shape. You're in pretty good shape for any age, but you're in great shape to be almost 51. Ain't in NFL football playing shape. That's a whole different animal.
What do you tell me about today's quarterback? That you can get away with what? You can get away with anything.
Yeah, but not being away from the game for almost a decade and coming back and playing.
Okay, do you think Brett Favre can sling it just about the way he used to sling it? I do.
Yes.
I believe his arm is just as strong as ever.
But one sack.
Yeah, okay.
And it's over.
All right. But he was a tough guy. You got to give him that. He was an Iron Man.
Nobody played his more consecutive games to do what he did to take that kind of punishment. Oh, no, there's no question about his toughness, Skip. But once you get away from the game, Skip, your spidey senses, they start every year. They dissipate. And now all of a sudden when Brett Favre could feel something and he could duck or he could spin out of it, now that shot's going to hit him dead in his back of his head. Because remember what happened last time? It was in Chicago. He got hit. And ta-da.
No, I know. But he just, there was not much left of his body. At the
end.
He had 20 things wrong with him. And he toughed through 20 things, but then everything went because he became a shell of himself as a football player.
Right.
Well, what if he's healthy? What if, I don't even know who would even take the shot. Somebody, I'm just throwing this out, the Titans call and say, come to camp. Just come to camp. We'd like to see you in camp for a couple of weeks and just see how it goes. Do you think he'd do it? Yep. He would do it.
He probably would, Skip, but you know what? Because he hadn't thrown like that in a long time, after the second day, he's like, I'm done. His shoulder would be fried.
I don't know about the shoulder. Maybe the rest of them could.
No, but Skip, you know, the thing is sometimes you have camp bodies. Quarterbacks can't throw because quarterbacks, because they're not used to throwing like they normally do during the course of the year. And their shoulder gets sore. And next thing you know, he's taking a couple of days off. Man, can you imagine how often do you think Brett Favre has actually thrown the football since he's retired?
No idea.
Not very often.
Well, I don't know.
He's on that tractor cutting grass and plowing fields.
Okay. He coached for a while. He probably threw there. I don't know.
Yeah.
Does he still coach? I have no idea. Maybe more than you think.
Brett,
Yeah.
stay over here with me.
Stay with you?
Stay over here with me on the sideline.
Really?
That's not us anymore.
I think after you read that post, you started thinking last night, you know what? Somebody called me.
I'm going to hang up. First of all, how you get my number? Skip give you my number, and I'm hanging up on it.
I know somebody who's got your number, and he's the head coach of the L.A. Chargers, right?
Yeah.
And you asked Keenan Allen, Gates coming back? What if he doesn't? What if
I cannot run Gates.
Huh?
Oh,
okay,
yeah.
well, there you go.
No. I cannot run him. That don't mean I cannot run anybody else on the defense.
Okay.
Everybody cannot run Gates.
Okay,
Gates might be the slow. He and Jason Witten pushing
Okay,
for the slowest guys in the NFL.
Okay, so could Shannon Sharpe step right in? They wouldn't miss a beat?
Shannon Sharpe could not step in. Because I'm going to catch one pass and I'm heading to the sideline. I'm going to sit down.
Yeah.
They'll be like, whoo, Lord, you let me get out of this when nobody hit me.
Really?
I'm not going to chance my luck the second time.
If Jason Witten's making a comeback, why
Hey,
not?
hey,
No.
you can outrun Jason Witten.
I can.
So you
I
say.
run Antonio Gates also.
Okay.
Yes, I could.
All right.
Absolutely.
So,
So I'm staying right here with you.
I know what's going to happen tonight. You're going to sit back and say, you know what? He's making a good point today.
Talk man.
I'm going to call my friend, Anthony Lynn.
I'm having shirts printed as we speak.
Who did you play
Talk
with?
man get paid.
Who's that guy, Anthony Lynn, right? Is that guy?
I think we
Didn't
have a
you play
future
with him?
segment coming
You were
up.
Kawhi's board man get paid?
Yeah.
Talk man get paid now.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, talk man get paid.
Maybe we'll get the three of y'all
We
on
right
the
here,
show to
Skip.
do it one day.
This is
That'd
it?
be
Yeah, this is
fun.
us. We'll
I'm
package
trying to get rid of you, and I can't.
No, I ain't going nowhere. Too late.
All right, up next, do the Lakers need another max player? We'll discuss that in just a moment.
No.
Anthony Davis and LeBron are about to be teammates. Problem, though, is the Lakers don't currently have enough money for another top free agent, say a Kawhi, Kyrie, or a Kemba. ESPN reports the team is scrambling to create $32 million in cap space by July 6th to create a third max slot. Right now, the Lakers are also shopping around 3 of their existing 5 contracts, trying to clear up more money. We are joined by FS1 NBA analyst Chris Broussard. Chris, it's a tough situation. What do you think the Lakers should do?
Well, they're right in the going for all this money, the cap space. And I think AD should waive the $4 million.
He should.
He should.
Well, you
He
should
should.
tell this man that.
He should waive the $4 million. Because what's the point in going to the Lakers if you're not going to be able to compete for a championship? And he can get up off the court. So assuming they can get, some of the good players they want. Now, if they're not going to be able to get good players, maybe you keep the money. But he should waive it. They should try to get the max room. The only max superstar, the superstar that I would go after is Kawhi Leonard. If I can get Kawhi, I don't care who the other 10 or 12 guys are on the team. I think they're going to be so good defensively with LeBron or with Kawhi and AD. I would want LeBron James to play point guard and then just surround them with scores or with shooters. Okay. Now, I would not use a max spot on Kyrie, Jimmy Butler, Kemba Walker, any of them, because big threes only, the big three, like with LeBron's big threes, that third guy tends to have to really take a step back. Chris Bosh, Kevin Love. Of AD, LeBron, and Kyrie, who's stepping back? Ideally, it would be a point guard, but that's not Kyrie's game. And if you want Kyrie to step back, he's not going to be Kyrie.
Right.
So, and LeBron, I don't think could play exclusively point guard as long as Kyrie is there. Look at the history of the big threes that work. You need, like Golden State. Klay Thompson doesn't even need to have the ball, but 90 seconds a game, right? He can catch and shoot so well.
Right.
So that works. Or it's a Magic Johnson guy who's a pass-first point guy. I'm looking to set up Worthy and Kareem more than get mine.
Right.
That's what, or with the Celtics, where they were all at the end of their career, and all of them stepped back. KG, Ray Allen, and Paul Pierce, their averages all went down. So absent that, like look at Shaq, Kobe, and Glenn Rice. Now, they won a championship, but Glenn Rice was so upset and unhappy, he asked for a trade after they won a championship.
Yeah.
So I just don't think, and here's the other thing. Your third guy is Kyle Kuzma. He's an 18-point scorer in and of himself. If you fought so hard to keep Kuzma if I bring in Kyrie or Kimba or somebody, Kuzma basically becomes a 12-point scorer. There's no way he's averaging 18 if I've got LeBron, Kyrie, and Anthony Davis.
Well,
I would actually look at trading him if I got Kawhi.
That's why we held on to him. You thought
trade him? Or because he's the third guy?
Yes, because he has more value to us. We move him as opposed to giving him to you.
So my final point, absent getting Kawhi, I would use that money to get depth. Get Brook Lopez, if I can, Patrick Beverly, Darren Collison,
J.J. Redick or Jeremy Lamb.
That's what I would look at doing.
Go ahead.
Okay. You want me to go?
I want you to go.
You don't want to pile on?
Nope.
I think you're at a loss today because you realize that everything he just said, I said to open this show. And you agreed with me in the end that even if it came down to this, and I'm going to point out, David Griffin still has all the leverage here. David Griffin now has Rob Pelinka like puppet on string. Dance, Robbie, dance. Because the Lakers are so desperate to max it out and go for broke, which they should. I am completely with this new strategy of whatever it takes. There's no Kevin Durant. The landscape is wide open just for 1 year. It's wide open.
2 years.
One. Well, Kevin's coming back.
Yeah, he's coming back, but will he be that same player that first year back?
And where will he be?
Well, who knows? Clippers, maybe? Who knows? I don't know. Could be. So the point is, this is when you go for broke. This is when Anthony Davis should say, wait a second, I have an opportunity here I might not have again. I don't know when LeBron's just going to hit the age wall. At some point, he just will.
40.
Okay, well, maybe not. Maybe 35. Maybe he's played. He's 35.
He's
got 9 million miles on his body.
He'll be 35 in 6 months.
Okay, so?
You say he'll hit the ball then?
Well, no, after this year. I don't know, going to the next year. Is he going to start to get injured more and more? He might. I don't know. But the point is, you got a shot right now just to max it out and get the other max player. And I agree with you. Number 2 should be number 1 on your list.
Yes.
And then after that, listen, Kyrie can still play. Don't be prisoner of the Boston moment because he can really play. And I watched him make magic with LeBron when they came back from 3-1 down. They played off each other. Not good, great.
He got it going because his 41, he was dancing.
Yeah, but if I got Anthony, I agree.
Okay.
I love Kyrie. But what's Anthony Davis? He's not going to be Chris Bosh.
No.
Or Kevin Love.
No, I got it. But still, I wouldn't mind Kyrie. Those are my 2. Those would be my goals.
Those are the only 2 you
Yes.
max?
So the point here is that David Griffin has so much leverage that he can still – remember, the trade is not done yet. It's just sitting there.
Right.
Everybody accepts that it's fit. No, it's not finished. If he says, I will push the trade back to, July 30th, I want Kyle Kuzma. Would you do that? He said he would.
No.
He said again, because
So
they have a...
what part am I keeping? Because obviously, you mean Kuzma in addition to everything else?
Yes.
No.
Because the Lakers are desperate to take a shot because they have become the laughingstock organization, not just of the NBA, but of sports. But all of a sudden, the heavens open. Kevin Durant ruptured his Achilles. And all of a sudden, we pull off this trade, and you go from laughingstock to favorite, right? You're the favorite.
No, I wouldn't do that if I was the Lakers.
Why
I wouldn't
not?
give up Kuzma because
What if I told
think,
you it came down to Kuzma for number 2? You could get him.
Well, there'd be no problem.
If I know I'm getting Kawhi, yes. But here's the thing. Griffin doesn't have all the leverage. Who else is New Orleans going to deal with?
Nobody.
They can't deal with Boston.
Well, who else is
They can't
LA
deal with
going to
New
deal
York.
with? The Lakers have to deal with him.
Well, he has to get Anthony Davis out of there because he doesn't want that souring the positive energy of Zion
I know, but
Williamson.
the more desperate is the Lakers right now because they see a way out of this.
I don't think they're the most. I think New Orleans.
Because guess what, Skip? Y'all was so upset, y'all wouldn't even let him play more than 20 minutes.
Okay.
Y'all wouldn't let him play because that's how you wanted him out. And you heard what Alvin Gentry said. The man got bad advice. He was trying. He and Dale Demp started this. When they went to Anthony Davis and said, don't sign with Richie Paul, they started this. And Richie Paul and AD finished it.
Okay.
Now he's a Laker. He's happy.
All right. But now you've teased the Lakers into desperation because it's like we have Anthony Davis, but the truth is you don't really officially have him yet.
I think what's happened is Rob Pelinka forgot or what, like he should have saved max cap room. And it's almost like he
I
didn't.
think he swung and missed
Right,
at that.
right. He because somebody, again, I don't think Kawhi's coming. But I was told last week if they get AD, Kawhi's going to strongly consider it. And then somebody told me recently, the problem is Pelinka didn't he messed up because he didn't keep the max room.
All they had to do was just trade the draft pick, Wagner. Just trade him. You don't have the first. You trade that pick, and now you got the space.
Okay.
You can use his money.
All right.
Instead of, and then AD doesn't have to give up the $4 million?
Right.
I think he's got to give up the $4 million.
No,
Which
I'm
he
saying,
should do.
No, I'm saying if you don't draft him last year, Wagner didn't win no games for him.
Right.
That little money, the money that he got, that he's making, that's $3 or $4 million that could be towards the cap.
Okay. So would you take a big three featuring number 2 and LeBron and AD, and then maybe I threw this out earlier. Would you go get Carmelo for the minimum? Would you add him to the mix? Would that be too many egos with one basketball?
I wouldn't be maybe. I mean, he wouldn't be on my top of my list, but
I think Carmelo's been really humble. I mean, I see Carmelo on IG. He's shooting in the gym by himself. I'd be like, Hoodie Melo.
Does he?
He doesn't fit though with those three because he's not going to spot up at the 3-point line.
Right.
Once I get those three, I just want
JJ Redick
guys to shoot. Yeah, and I don't know if Redick will take that little bit amount of money.
Well, I mean, he's not getting that $12 million that he got last year. If you notice, the past couple of years,
about that.
1-year deals. Nobody, look, you want to, okay, go back to Philly. You're not going to win. You can come to LA. You've been to LA. You spent a lot of time with the Clippers. Now you with the big brother.
For a couple million?
Going to win a championship.
So are you now willing to swallow your principle and say, just give up the $4 million, Anthony? Yes, you are. No?
Well, I'm telling you what we're going to do.
Can they get to the max without him giving up the $4 million?
We got this
They can.
we got this little project going on, Space Jam. We're going to hire him as a consultant.
Yeah, he's going to get it. He can get that money.
Hire him as a consultant.
Okay,
So he give up the
waive
$4
the
million.
$4 million.
Okay, we think
Because
about
the
it.
consultant fee doesn't count under the cap, but the $4 million counts.
Yes.
That's what I'm
Okay.
saying. That's the whole point.
All right. So you
He's
say give
giving
it up.
what? How much to leave New
34
Orleans?
million.
What's 4 more?
38 million.
You have a chance. You have a chance to do something really special, man.
We're going to do it.
Yeah. Okay. So why
We
not?
gonna do it.
Well, for $4 million, would you just blow your chance? No.
So do you think they should max, other than Kawhi? I assume you're getting Kawhi. Is there anybody else they should spend?
I would not be opposed if they gave it to Kyrie, but Jimmy Butler, Kemba, nah. Other than that, if we can't get Kyrie or Kawhi, give me 4 guys for that $32 million.
Yeah. They're going to need depth.
Yeah.
I mean, that's hilarious.
That's what
they
Toronto
can have
did.
3 guys, and then who? 9 guys on minimum deals?
And that's what
with a
LeBron,
mid-level
remember
exception.
LeBron said 3.5 years ago, Skip. We what? He said it was 2.5 years ago. Say we top heavy as bleep.
He says that all the time.
No, he don't. He said that one time. You keep talking about he says it all the time.
Well, it's always.
So to sum this up, guys, the Lakers got a beautiful dress for the prom, but they have no money left for
No shoes.
What, look,
or
it's like the
purses
Derby.
or
Wait,
details.
it's like, Jen, you ever been to the Kentucky Derby?
I have not.
Well, it's
My
all
list.
about the hat anyway. So if you got a nice hat, you don't even got to wear shoes.
I went to 15 of them, so I guess I know.
So you know.
But I didn't wear a hat.
Well, it's all about the hat. Because I see women with dresses and be barefooted, but they got a nice hat.
You seen them barefoot?
He's barefooted.
That's going to be the Lakers.
I can guarantee you they wore shoes. They just had to take them off because they started hurting. That's what
Oh,
happens.
that's what it
with
is?
these heels. That's what it is.
It's
I'm
raining
telling
there
you.
in the mud, they stepping in mud.
Yeah, they're
barefoot.
saving their shoes.
I say give up Kuzma for number 2.
No.
Kuzma.
Oh, you don't want that.
I would do that if
I would.
if I'm
I
getting
would do
Kawhi.
that.
No
Can you
question.
imagine
Chris, we're gonna
how
need
many
you to
off
stick
days
around
Skip
if you
gonna
don't
have?
mind.
Kawhi win that last year and the Lakers win this year?
It would be over.
Over.
That's
Over.
right?
Over?
If they got Kawhi, it's over.
Well, who's
75
I'm
Wait.
gonna leave this one here,
Who's the
guys. I'm sorry,
closer?
but Chris, we're gonna get you to
You don't
stick
have a
around.
closer.
Up next,
LeBron
is
and
there
Kawhi.
any way to fix the Rockets? We'll discuss that one.
Too close.
Houston, we have a problem. Yahoo reports the relationship between James Harden and Chris Paul is now unsalvageable. The report adds CP3 went to management and demanded a trade, while Harden issued a, quote, him or me edict. To make matters worse, the two ball handlers reportedly did not speak to each other for 2 months during the past season. Now, Harden hasn't returned CP3's attempts at communication during this offseason. Chris Broussard's still hanging with us this morning. Chris, how does Houston fix this one?
Well, look, the chances of trading Chris Paul are slim to none. I never say never because we've seen crazy trades in the NBA, but it would probably have to be your problem for my problem. So John Wall for Chris Paul. I'm not trading Chris Paul for John Wall, as bad as Chris's contract is.
Yeah, his John Wall is worse.
Right. So if the him or me thing is true, then I'm picking James Harden all day, every day over Chris Paul. However, I do think Chris Paul is right to a large degree. They're not going to win being a one-man show. They have got to get more ball and player movement into that offense. Mm-hmm. You got Chris Paul playing like a two-guard. And Chris Paul, I give him credit. He willingly made himself a role player, a shooting guard, a spot-up shooter to a large degree to try to win a title. Mm-hmm. We went 2 years. It didn't work.
Right.
So now you got to switch. So just tweak the offense, change it. And Harden is capable of doing this. Remember, when he was in Oklahoma City, I know he was young. He hadn't become a superstar. But he was a versatile playmaker coming off that bench.
Right.
He has led this league in assists.
Right.
He did.
Right. And when he got to Houston before D'Antoni was there under Kevin McHale, and they did reach the conference finals, he didn't play like this. He didn't dominate the ball like this. So Harden is capable physically, skill-wise, of playing a different way. However, after 2 years of, now your name's mentioned with Michael Jordan and Wilt Chamberlain, and some people calling you the greatest one-on-one player ever, mentally and ego-wise, can you adjust to getting more guys? This is what, when they need to sit him down, Daryl Morey and all those guys, Chris Paul, look, James, no one in the history of basketball has won a championship, an NBA championship, with a player averaging 35 or more points. No, when Jordan's 3 highest scoring seasons, they didn't win championships. So you can't do it with him averaging 35. He can average 30, but just a little tweak, let's get other guys involved. That's how they need to settle this, because you're not trading Chris Paul.
And James Harden say, see, I started this streak when Chris Paul got hurt. See how well we was doing? We was winning lots of games when Chris Paul wasn't here. But you touched on this. James Harden has won an MVP, and he's finished second 4 of the last 5 years. How do you say, James, you need to change the way you play when you receive that? He got this Supermax contract, Skip, playing that way. He became James Harden, a household name, playing this way.
Well, he finished second in MVP voting and first with the players under Kevin McHale.
Right.
In 2015. I voted for him that year in 2015. He averaged 29, but he didn't, he didn't dominate like this. This is ridiculous.
Yeah, we didn't see the dribble,
right.
step back, dribble, layup, dribble, floater. Mm-mm. But that's what he is. I don't know what Chris Paul was thinking. I guess Chris Paul looked at it and says, well, hold on. The past couple of years, he's been 4th in usage. And now I get here, he's 1st in usage. And it's increasing. So not only is he not willing to pass the ball to me, he's just keeping it from himself even more. Because I could probably I can stomach you being 4th in usage rate. He's at 41%. Russell Westbrook, who we think was a ball hog, is at 33.
Second.
That's 8 more percent. Yep. That's unheard of.
And by the way, Chris Paul tied for 55th with Buddy Hield.
He did. And Chris Paul said, hold on, I'm used to having the ball.
Right.
At least some.
Yep.
They relegated Chris Paul to, Chris Paul, now he goes out. He's the leader of the second unit. Because James Harden starts the first quarter, plays all the first. Chris Paul goes out with about 4 minutes left in the first quarter, comes back in with the second unit, run the second unit, and start the second quarter, Skip, this is not going to work. But I just don't know how you move $41.3 million over the next 3 years. I just don't know how. I know James Harden says him or me, but I just don't know how you move Chris Paul.
I don't either. I've read 20 trade scenarios, and the best one I saw was Hassan Whiteside and Goran Dragic to Houston for Capella and Chris Paul. But why would Pat Riley want to be saddled with that Chris Paul contract? Do you think you could win with Chris Paul next year in place of Goran Dragic? No, you couldn't.
And you got that would mean you'd have 2 more years at $41 and $44 million on Chris Paul, and then you got 2 more years of Clint Capella at about $18 million. So why would I do that? Hassan Whiteside is up after this year. So is Dragic. So why would I take on 2 more years of big salary, Skip, and no.
Chris has played 58 games each of the last 2 seasons.
Okay.
And he's just, I said it last year. Houston was hesitant to give him that contract, but there was that wink, handshake, whatever, when he forced his way out of the Clippers. And here's the thing about Chris. New Orleans, he forced his way out. The Clippers, he forced his way out. Now, I've been told this is not true. Daryl Morey denies it. But if it's true that he wants out, that's 3 teams now that he's forcing his way out.
And he's always feuded with somebody, maybe not at New Orleans because he was the star in New Orleans, but he and Blake could never quite get along, and it just blew up. And I got to tell you, I have lost so much respect for Chris Paul's game that you said you can't win with a one-man show, but their one-man show is better than the two-man show I saw last year featuring Chris Paul as the second star.
Right.
I would rather see Austin Rivers in the starting lineup in place of Chris Paul. They would be a better team with Austin because he doesn't have a big ego. He just does whatever works, like he'll defend, he'll fight, he'll scrap. And if he gets an open look, an open three, Austin will make a bunch of those.
He made some big shots against the Warriors.
I'm just saying that they look like a better team with him in that spot as opposed to Chris, who still sees himself as a superstar, making superstar money. And he can't, first of all, he doesn't fit. And he also can't live up because he's lost a step. He doesn't keep himself in the best of shape, it looks like to me. That's just my eye. I could be wrong about that. They always say he practices hard, but I don't see him. He doesn't do the LeBron thing. He doesn't have the fitness regimen.
No, that takes place in the offseason.
Outside of John Stockton, most guys his size break down about this point in their career. Okay. But I don't think they can. Look, one-man shows, they're not going to consistently win a championship, if at all. Wilt Chamberlain was the greatest one-man show of all time.
He was.
And when he won his championship, he averaged 24 points a game one year, which was his lowest to that point. I think his 7th year. And he averaged 14 when he won it with the Lakers.
Yep.
I think LeBron,
18
I think one reason LeBron's hasn't won more titles, he's a one-man show to a large degree. Now, he's a passer, but he's creating everything. He's creating for everybody on the team rather than kind of fitting in with the scissors. And Michael Jordan, Phil Jackson convinced them this triangle is how we're going to do it. And that's when they started winning championships. So if those 3 couldn't win it as a one-man show, then how's James Harden going to do it?
I would look, Skip, if I was the general manager, Chris, this is how I would look at it. I would treat it, free agency and signing players, like a house. If you buy a house, what's the first thing you need to think? Resale. If I buy a $300 million house, Skip, there's only 5 people in the world that can afford that. You sign Chris Paul to this deal. What if I got to trade him? Who going to be able to take that on? Nobody. So now I'm stuck with him.
Yeah.
They're stuck. I don't know.
So you have to use him, right?
James Harden, now Daryl Morey said the other day, there is tension. Tension is good. Now he's trying to downplay it.
Right.
Because
he's saying they're talking, all 3 of them, about free agents. You have to use Chris Paul. If you can't trade him, what's the point of having him average 12 points off the bench? Right?
James Harden gonna lump him up. You got to get him up out of there. You heard the story, man. James Harden is shooting on one end of the court by himself because he likes to do that after practice. Chris Paul gets a rookie, and they go play one-on-one on the same basket that James Harden's shooting on.
I know.
You know how practice gyms are for NBA teams. They got like 10 goals. And you find the one that James Harden is shooting on. Come on, Chris.
I just don't know what you do with it. If you can't trade him,
Petty Paul,
you got to try to make it work.
Good luck with that. Good luck. Hold on. Look, once you get to this point, you married. Your wife can't constantly argue and say, I want out. And it's like, we're going to make it work. You going to stay here.
My father's there, and they're happily married 54 years, but they had a motto, suffer through. Suffer through.
I ain't going to make that. No, I don't. Jesus was the greatest sufferer. I'm not him. I'm not suffering through nothing. I'm gone. I'm up out of here, Skip.
But here's the thing. Why are the Rockets panicking? You've lost to Golden State. That's the one team. They may very well have been the second best team in the league last year. Or this past year, for all we know. Why panic? And like you said, Golden State is done for a year. It's right there for the taking.
No, it ain't.
Well, no, the Lakers are there.
23
but
and 23.5.
It's still, you have a shot. You have a shot.
I got to tell you, last year, I've never been the biggest James Harden fan, but last year was revolutionary. I've never seen anything like it before. Ever. It was as revolutionary as Steph's second MVP year when he dominated from the three-point line in ways we'd never seen
Made
before.
over 400.
Right?
Yeah, you just couldn't stop it. he was shooting them from 40 feet. He was shooting them like they were free throws.
Yes.
Well, last year, it got to the point where this one man was just truly unstoppable.
Right.
He could stop himself if he had a cold shooting night, but mostly he didn't have cold shooting nights.
But even if he had a cold shooting night, he's going to get to the free throw line, skip and make 20 or 22.
But here's the thing. He could do that again this season.
Yeah.
But what about the playoffs? That he can't do that in the playoffs. It's too easy over a 7-game series with days off in between games to zero in on exactly what he does.
Okay? I've never loved him in the biggest playoff moments because he's had a long, awful history, like an ugly history. But to Shannon's point that he made earlier in the show, how are we to know how much the Chris Paul versus James undercut their ability to close the deal against Golden State after Kevin Durant went out? Are they at each other's throats to the point that it's just too distracting for the whole basketball
Because
team?
it was reported, Skip, they were getting into a heated discussion after Game 6, walking up the court, walking in the tunnel.
Yeah. Well, do you think your LeBron would take him?
No.
If I'm Daryl Morey, I'm calling the Lakers. I'm calling Pelinka.
But you know
Hey,
what?
let's put him with LeBron. Actually, I'm calling LeBron.
Well,
You
LeBron
want
would
your
take
guy.
him, but at what price? I mean,
Well,
how do
the
you-
price
how do you
is
do-
max money.
Yeah.
Well,
I don't think he would take
they
it. He's
only go
smart.
got-
He knows.
They only got $32 million. Chris Paul's making $41 million. How you fit that?
That banana boat would sink, right?
But the thing is, you know what, Chris? You could stomach this if they were winning title. Dr. Buss stomached Shaq and Kobe being at each other because they were three-peating. And then all of a sudden, they didn't three-peat. It was like, this is enough. But then they lost respect for each other. How much respect do these guys have for one another?
You hit it on the head. What was Chris Paul thinking? I think all of us looked at that like, you going to play with James Harden? You're ball dominant yourself. He's ball dominant. How's that going? And look, it did work. I was shocked the first year.
Remember, early last year, they had Carmelo.
Yeah.
They tried that.
That's the thing about Daryl Morey, the poster boy for analytics.
Yeah, I know. I said
he
this
makes so
earlier.
many moves that are anti-analytics. Chris Paul was totally against the analytics.
Totally.
Dwight Howard against the analytics.
Carmelo against. Right.
They were first and fourth in usage. Chris Paul was fourth, James Harden. And then you pair those guys together. How does that go work?
Great insight this morning, guys. Chris, thanks so much for being here. We appreciate it.
All right.
All right, will the Lakers be the best team in the West next season? We're going to discuss that.
Good question.
No mercy. Back to the NBA and Shannon's adopted team, his favorite subject, the Lakers. DraftKings has set their over-under at 54.5 wins. That's the highest total in the West and behind just the Bucks for best in the NBA. Keep in mind, though, the Lakers won just 37 games last year. They've missed the playoffs for 6 straight seasons. Chris Broussard's still hanging with us. Chris, over or under 54.5 wins for these Lakers?
I actually think 54 is about the perfect number. So I'm going to go under. Now, I've said they should be the favorite in the West, and I still stick, or in the whole league. I stick with that. But the regular season, I think LeBron and Anthony Davis are going to be on load management. I really do, because the regular season is all about keeping those two healthy and developing enough chemistry to be ready going into the playoffs. So I don't think, we know LeBron isn't all about, I got to get 60 wins. In Cleveland, his last 4-year stint there, they won more than 53 games once. You know, so they're not going to be concerned about, we have to get the number 1 seed. As long as they're healthy and they've figured out their roles and developed the chemistry, that's what the regular season is going to be about. So I'm going to say under. I think 54 is about perfect, but I'll go under.
Well, wait a second. 26-year-old Anthony Davis is going to be on load management?
2 of his 7 years, only 2 of his 7 years has he played more than 68 games.
He's been more perpetually banged up than number 2 was in San Antonio.
It's close.
It's real close.
So you got to put him on load management.
Michael Jordan played all 82 9 times, and he played 81 once and 80 another time. So that's 11 times of 80-plus games, and this kid is on load management? What has happened to this league?
It's 2019.
What's happened to this world?
I'm with you.
Skip, it doesn't mean the same as it did back then. Back then, guys, it meant something to play all 82 ball games. It doesn't have the same meaning now. It's over. Because we got 2 of the top 5 players in the NBA. And even if LeBron is on load management, we got Anthony Davis, who's in his prime. Now, before the trade...
You don't think he's going to be on any load management?
He will, but then when they won't have off nights both. They won't give them both off at the same time.
I agree.
Skip, do you realize this? Before the trade became, it just like blew up. Anthony Davis, the first 41 games was averaging 29, 13, 2.5. Now, he finished averaging 26, 12, and 2. Let that sink in for a second. And he's 26. And you pair that with LeBron that was 27, 8, and 8. Now, I don't know if Chris didn't even know this. That LeBron James averaged more points, rebounds, and assists than Kevin Durant and Kawhi, and he stepped off a cliff. Now, imagine with a year, he had like 4 months off of rest. Not, he over there on vacation right now, he in old Savannah, having them a good old time.
Really?
Skip, he on a mission. Somebody's in a heap of trouble. Your worst nightmare is about to be realized all over again. It's going to be like deja vu. Not deja vu. What's that? Groundhog Day. Oh, Bill Murray movie. Kawhi won it last year. LeBron James win the title this year.
Oh, that'd be deja voodoo. That's what that would be.
Skip it, no, Skip. Oh.
Deja voodoo.
You know what, Skip? I might walk
Somebody
around.
with a voodoo.
I might walk around the whole L.A. Every day with a goat mask on.
Really?
Yeah, goat man, goat man.
Really? Gloat man, gloat man. So I can't get this straight. If AD has missed an average of 15 games a year, and LeBron James, for the first time in his career, had a serious injury, even though it was just a groin, it wasn't a joint injury, which would be really serious, but he missed 27 games last year. What if LeBron misses 27 and AD misses 15? How are you going to get to 56?
Because that's not going to happen. What happened last year to LeBron was an anomaly. And another reason why AD signed with Rich Paul, he wanted that intel. How does LeBron do what he does? How is this man going to 8 straight finals? Now, we saw a team that one guy went to 5 straight, one guy went to 3 straight, and the wheels fell off. My guy went to 8 straight. We go to Wakanda forever.
Really?
We gonna do this again.
He better take AD to Wakanda with him.
AD gonna get in the gym. Right now, we picking and rolling right now.
I'm with you, Shannon, on them being able to win the title, but I don't think they're going to go all out like that in the regular season. I don't think LeBron cares of winning 58 games.
So just the last 2 years in New Orleans, Anthony Davis missed games because of back spasm, shoulder injury, left index finger, right hip strain,
Carrying
right
the
elbow
franchise.
strain,
That's what happened to your back.
sore groin, concussion, left knee swelling. Then we know he had back to his rookie year MCL sprain and bone bruise. Then he fractured his left hand. Then he had a sprained shoulder, and then he had a torn labrum. This is in his 4th year. I don't know. It's always something. I'm just warning you on your 56
diet.
You're way overestimating.
He was eating gumbo and etouffee and boudin. You can't eat all that stuff. He wasn't used. No, he wasn't. He's not used to eat from Chicago. He ain't used to that. But so now he got with LeBron. LeBron, how you eat? Bro, how you train?
He is going to
the cryo, the physio, spend that money.
The reason I'm now having a problem coming to a conclusion on this question is it's all TBD, to be determined.
Why?
Because nothing's even started yet. We're about to hit into the vortex of the greatest NBA offseason ever. It's not even close. This will make Kevin Durant on July 4th leaving Oklahoma City for Golden State look like child's play. Because now we even have Al Horford on the market, right? We do, but it's so deep in free agents. There's so many dominoes that are going to fall in crazy directions that I'm still not sure what the Lakers are going to look like when the dominoes fall, right?
But Skip, really, if you think about it, there's a lot of guys, but there's still only 2 tier 1s. KD, and he's injured, and Kawhi. Everybody else is tier 2. Kyrie. So you hold on. You putting Kyrie and Jimmy Butler and Kemba on the same tier with?
They can make a difference somewhere.
They
just
make
can.
Make a difference, but they're not. They're not KD. They're not Kawhi.
Are they going to team up? I don't know. I got to see where it goes because remember, only one shot has been fired so far. Only one.
Yeah.
And that's Anthony Davis to LA, and it's not even finished yet. Am I right?
No, you're right. See, and I'm going to throw this out there, and I don't think it'll happen, but I think this is what should happen. Kyrie, now I know he's reportedly cut off the Celtics, okay? But I don't think it makes any sense for Kyrie, basketball-wise. He can do personally, maybe he wants to be at home. I get it. But basketball-wise, why would you leave Boston to go to Brooklyn by yourself? Okay. If I'm going there with Kevin Durant, that's one thing. But by yourself, you're going to a worse version of what you have in Boston. And maybe Spencer Dinwiddie and Karis LeVert and these guys feel the same way as the guys in Boston. Mm-hmm. We were headed in the right direction without Kyrie. So what I would do if I was Kyrie, I would get on the phone with KD, and I know they're talking, they want to play together and all that. See if you could convince KD to play in Boston. And see if you, and then get on the horn with Danny Ainge and say, let's do a sign and trade with Golden State. Because Golden State, if they're going to lose KD, you don't think they take Jaylen Brown and maybe if they can get Jason Tatum, but
Rozier.
Right. They need depth. See if you can do a sign and trade, and now you got KD and Kyrie in Boston. Boston is a historic franchise.
But that's the thing. I mean, you got Al Horford.
You still would have Gordon Hayward, too.
Gordon Hayward is a big country. He got to come.
I'm just saying, he's a good third guy, though.
But think about it. For $35 million,
he showed some signs last year of kind of being his own self.
You should have never signed him.
I agree with that, but not as a third guy. You wouldn't take him?
He was the sixth man off the bench. How is that a third guy?
He won't be a sixth man next year if Horford's gone. You have KD, Kyrie, and Gordon Hayward.
Did you see enough from Gordon Hayward to say he could be a third guy?
I
didn't see it, Chris.
Never loved him.
But he was the first guy in Utah. Okay, forget Hayward. You don't like KD and Kyrie in Boston?
Kyrie don't like Boston.
I get that. I'm just saying, basketball-wise, that's a better option.
Okay, I got you.
Basketball-wise, staying with LeBron in Cleveland was a better option. We know Kyrie.
I agree, but
the problem was Celtics Nation soured on Kyrie, and then he soured on it.
Yeah.
But you don't think, he did sour on it, but you don't think Boston Nation would love him if he got KD there?
Yeah, that would work. But not next year, but the next year.
But he heard Chris Broussard say, Kyrie did, they went to Game 7 of the Eastern Conference Final without Kyrie.
They did.
Kyrie said, I'm tired of hearing that. Okay, well, get back there without me because I'm gone.
And trust me, Celtic fans had a whole lot more fun 2 years ago than they had last year. It was just fun to watch. Terry Rozier was phenomenal.
Yeah, everybody else is like, if we get this guy, if we got that guy. LeBron sitting back, we got our guy.
Well, you think you do.
He got our guy here.
You realize offers can still be made for Anthony Davis as we speak.
Skip,
it's not done.
There's nobody out there, Skip.
You don't know that.
That's the thing. The Lakers have the leverage, so no, they're not giving up Kyle Kuzma.
He won't that. See, that's what he want. Oh, the deal hadn't been signed. Nothing has been signed yet.
But I'm going to give you this. If they could pull off adding number 2 to AD and LeBron, well, then you're going to be right about 56 wins because they could just do that.
56? I'm talking about 76.
That's what I'm saying, okay? I got you.
No question.
But I said you're going to be right about 56 plus, right?
76.
But without that, I don't know.
I know.
Yeah, I was generous yesterday. I said 51, but that's with mix and match guys. That's with Danny Green.
No. We
51.
Yeah, I gave him 51.
Oh, you gave him 51.
Yeah.
No, but you know what, Skip? That'd be too much.
I gave it to you.
I mean, can you hold on? LeBron and Kawhi.
And here's the other thing about the West. They're all going to start getting better because all these Al Horfords out there, all these.
When did Al Horford become Karl Malone or Charles Barkley? The dude averaged 13 and a half and 6. And we talking about him like he Karl Malone.
He is a glue guy.
Elmer's glue. He ain't crazy glue. He Elmer's glue. That's what kids play with in kindergarten.
Look, but you'd love to have him on your team at the right price.
I love him.
Right, at the right price.
Well, clearly that's what Boston want, but he don't want that price.
Okay.
I don't know who's giving him 100.
But if you add, I'm just throwing names out, but if you add Al Horford to the Rockets, all of a sudden they get a little better.
Where the Rockets getting his money from?
Okay. Well,
you got $40 million Chris Paul, $40 million James Harden.
Well, if they trade Capella, I don't know. Just watch. Just watch what happens. Denver will get better. Portland will get better. Utah will get better. Oklahoma City will get better.
Name the team that's currently constructed right now as we speak that has 2 better players than LeBron James and AD. Name the team right now. Go.
I can name a lot of teams that have 2 players who will stay healthier than those 2.
No, you can't.
And that's what happens over 82 games.
That's what I know. That's why we're going to be
You're going to get load managed right out from under your 56. That's the only reason
I'm under 54. Load management, chemistry development.
I got a feeling out the gate, the first 30 games, we might be something like 22-8.
Wait, that's the same LeBron James who went 28 and 27 last year?
Yeah.
In the games he started? 28 and 27.
We ain't gonna have a point guard that's shooting 30% from the 3 and 43% from the free throw line.
He didn't shoot 30%.
Chris, we certainly appreciate you
a lot of
being here. Have fun with the draft, and we'll be talking to you soon. All right, our next guest is one of the best defensive players in the NFL.
Nope, here we go.
Gerald McCoy of the Panthers. That still feels strange to say.
Weird. Yeah.
Keep it right here. We'll be up next.
No mercy.
Our next guest just signed with the Carolina Panthers after 9 seasons with the Tampa Bay Bucks. He really needs no introduction. 6-time Pro Bowler and All-Pro, one of the most dominant defensive tackles in the NFL. Gerald McCoy, welcome to Undisputed. You certainly had a lot of options when you were looking for your next home. What made you choose Carolina?
Well, honestly, it was, like you said, I had options. And where I'm at in my career, you look for certain things. I've been there, done that as far as like mentoring young guys and bringing guys up to speed and all that. At this point in my career, I was looking for an established culture and a group of men, one common goal, and that's to win. And when I went on my visit to Carolina, I went to a lunch where they had 6 of their players. They had Christian McCaffrey, Luke Kuechly, Greg Olsen, KK Short, Shaq Thompson, and Trey Turner. And I fit right in. They made me feel at home, and I was like, you know what? I can be here. Because I had to make a decision, where can I be away 6 months without my family? I'm married, been married 6 years, I have 5 children. So, and I'm always around them. I do everything with my family. So being away from my family was a part of that decision as well. But at the same token, if you're gonna go somewhere that's a contender and win, the best thing to do first is win your division. I believe the NFC South is the best division in football. Who's the champions of the NFC South the past 2 years? New Orleans Saints. Who are they ran by? Drew Brees, high-powered offense. How do you take out a high-powered offense? You have to have a high-powered defense. So a lot of those things went into my decision with why I chose Carolina.
Well, don't pretend like we don't know who else is in the NFC South either now.
Yeah.
You pretended like you talking about, New Orleans and Carolina, but you forgot another team that you just came from.
Yeah.
Let me ask you a question, obviously. Did they offer you, 2-part, did they offer you a restructure or they just wanted to part ways?
It was a little bit of both. Not really technically a restructure. You know, we tried to come to a decision of what we could do, and nah, we just had to, nah.
How upsetting, not only do they say, okay, we want to move on from Gerald McCoy, but they bring a guy that plays your position and they put him in your old number.
Well, as far as signing him, organizations have to do what they have to do when you let a player of my caliber go. So I understand that. But as far as giving away my number, in the history of the Bucks, they have a ring of honor.
Right.
And all the greatest players in the organization usually get their numbers retired.
Right.
And when Sapp left, which Sapp is one of a kind, but John Lynch, Brooksy, all these guys left. Leroy
You started it.
Rondé Barber, when all these guys left, and nobody wore the number. They didn't give the number away, and it was a sign of respect. Well, 6 Pro Bowls, All-Pro 4 times. This is Tampa Bay, and I'm one of the best players to ever play in the organization. I'm gonna say it. Usually I wouldn't, but I'm gonna say it. So what? It kind of shows the respect and how they felt about me. I think it does. Them giving the number away, that's their prerogative. But the respect they showed, especially, it'd be different if it was a guy who came in, he signed 4 or 5 years. This is a 1-year deal. And you said because he caused a problem or he really asked for the number, we gave it to him. I mean, it may seem like it's just a number, but it's bigger than that. It's respect. And that was a big part of the separation between me and Tampa, period, was the respect they showed to me all offseason. It just wasn't there. So,
why do you think that began to happen? Because as soon as Arians took over, one of the first statements he made was, I need to see more from Gerald, right?
Yeah. Well, here's how I see it. I'm going to say this, and one thing I'll never do is slander or disrespect the organization that changed my life, so I won't do that. But what I will speak on is the truth. And the truth is, I did not speak to any of the coaches besides Bruce Arians without running into them while I was in the building working out. Nobody called my phone. I didn't speak to my D-line coach. I didn't speak to Todd Bowles. I didn't speak to anybody. I didn't speak to Jason Light. I spoke to nobody. And if I'm supposed to be one of the staples, have been one of the staples in this organization since I've been there. You know, it'd be different if they wasn't calling other people, but they were calling other people. So you mean to tell me you can't just pick up the phone? Hey, we're here, just wanted to introduce myself, none of that. I spoke to Todd Bowles, and he's a great man. This is not about the men. This is about what happened from the organization, period. Nobody called me, not once. And I never spoke on that, but nobody picked up the phone, not one time, to call me, speak to me, anything. And I think that speaks volumes. Silence speaks volumes. So a statement was made about me from our GM, which is fine. Everybody's entitled to their opinion. But when you go silent, especially with the media slandering me, making up stories about, oh, it's a contract issue and all this, it's easy. Just pick up the phone and say, hey, listen, we're not worried about none of that. We want to welcome you. I mean, we want to introduce ourselves. It's a new staff, blah, 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 blah. None of that ever happened. I ran into people in passing in the hallway. That's the most I ever spoke. I spoke to more people in Baltimore, Cleveland, and Carolina's staff than I spoke to the Bucs all offseason. And that's a fact.
So you felt you being a pillar of that in the community, a staple in that organization, the lack of respect that they showed you with this new staff was disrespectful.
Yeah, well, I mean, they don't, so for Coach Arians to say what he said about me, he doesn't know me. So I don't really fault him.
Did he say that without meeting you?
He said it, well, we met.
Okay.
But that's all it was a meet. Right. We didn't meet. We didn't sit down and talk for an hour. We didn't talk about the plan moving forward. We didn't say any of this. All that was said was in the media. We have to evaluate his play. Oh, we evaluated him. He's going to be our 3 technique. Then it goes from he's going to be our 3 technique to he's not enough. He hasn't been the same over. So, excuse me. So it's like, which one is it? You know, and it's just a conversation. It's not hard. This stuff can go on behind the scenes.
Right.
But none of this stuff is taking place. No phone. You can't pick up the phone, not once, for one of your pillars.
So maybe I should disqualify myself because we're both from Oklahoma City.
Right.
I'm a big University of Oklahoma fan, and you were a star there, and I've always been a big fan of yours. But what got me about what happened to you over the last couple of years is you did make the Pro Bowl in 2017. That was your last one, but you did make it, and your sacks over the last 3 years have stayed pretty high, 7, 6, and 6. So you didn't fall off the map over the last 3 years. And then they go get a Sue, who had a decent year last year, but he's a year and 2 months older than you. And you've played against him all the way up through your OU days, because obviously he was at Nebraska and they were still in the Big 12. So I couldn't, that was offensive to me. They went and got an older guy to replace you.
Well, that's their prerogative. That's the decision they made. And I have no hard feelings towards Tampa at all, but there comes a point in time where you have to show some respect. And I didn't feel like they showed me the respect I deserved, that I earned. It's not about, I'm not saying you give me respect for something I didn't earn. I earned that respect. Tampa hasn't been a winning team, and we all know it's hard. You know, it's hard to be considered a Pro Bowl, all-pro person on a losing team.
Right.
And I did it 6 years straight. That's hard to do. And for the respect I received after doing that, it's like they showed none. Well, and you know, I don't know why. That's my thing is, it's not that I'm bad-mouthing them. I just don't know. I don't understand what happened. I don't know why.
But when you look at it, you're familiar with the general manager. The only thing changed was the head coach, and he brought in a new staff. So do you think the disrespect had something to do with Bruce Arians, or was this something brewing with Jason Light, who's the general manager, who's been there? You know him.
Yeah, I know him. And, I mean, the proof is in the pudding, man. Bruce Arians don't know me, but Jason Light does. So but overall, you know how this goes. Staffs, coaches talk to the GMs. They all have these meetings about what's going to happen moving forward. I don't know if it was a statement of, well, let's not talk to them, let's not do this. I don't know what it was. I don't know. You know, I wasn't in the conversations. I just knew this. Whenever I got the phone call, I was going to be ready, whether it was with the Bucs or somebody else. And that's all I could control, is make sure that I was the best me.
So how much are you looking forward to playing Tampa twice?
It's gonna be fun.
What you mean? What you mean it's gonna be fun?
It's gonna be fun. I'm looking forward to it.
Got that date circled in red.
Yeah. No, it's in blue now.
Blue? Like that.
So I believe that was the overriding factor
Right.
of you going to the NFC. Because when someone gives up on you, you want to show them. You don't really necessarily, and I believe the Broncos gave up on me and I wouldn't sign with the Ravens. It wasn't about proving them wrong. It was about proving me right. I can still play. I can still play at a high level. You don't believe I can, but you'll see.
Yeah, I honestly believe I can. I recently made this switch to being a vegan.
Okay.
And everybody's like, well, why are you a vegan, man? You're a defensive lineman. Well, let me say this. This will answer your question, okay? Since 2014, I'll say I weigh a little bit more now, but I did a body composition at the beginning of minicamp in Carolina. My muscle mass is higher than it's been in the past 5 years. My body fat is lower than it's been in the past 5 years. Excuse me. And this is since I've been a vegan. So for a person to say, oh, well, how can you be a vegan and still keep your muscle on? Well, how can you? It works. And I always tell people this. Well, where do you get your protein? I get my protein from the same place your protein gets its protein. That's plants.
But see, that's minicamp. We're going to see if you're going to be able to hold up that wear and tear in them trenches being a vegan. Have you been a vegan in them trenches yet?
Not yet.
Okay.
We'll see.
Yeah, that's going to be the telltale.
We'll see.
Gerald, we're going to get you to stick around if you don't mind. We got to take a quick break, but we want to talk to you a lot more about the upcoming season
All right,
in Carolina
thank you.
and your Panthers teammates.
Thank you.
We'll be back in just a moment.
No mercy.
Gerald McCoy of the Carolina Panthers is back with us. Shannon's been excited all morning. You've been coming, and I didn't even tell him you're a Lakers fan.
Yeah, you should have done that.
You
Should have done that, baby.
You mad now.
Yeah.
Big mad.
My son is big mad.
Yeah.
Oh, he's big mad.
Well, I want to get back to your game, which is football, because the Cleveland Browns have become the new it team in the NFL, the hot team. And when you visited, I thought, okay, this seems like it's on a silver platter. I figured you were about to be a Cleveland Brown. Why did it not happen?
Well, for me, for what I needed, I knew I wanted to sign a one-year deal. For what I needed, Carolina was a better fit for me. Now, talent-wise, I think it's clear that Cleveland has the best roster, talent-wise. But, and Coach Freddie Kitchens is a great man. I had a chance to meet with him, talk with him tons. Great man. But there's too many questions for me. Now, I'm sure they believe in what they're going to be and what they can be. And I'm a believer in Baker Mayfield. I know what he can be and what he will be. I just don't know if it's what I need right now. And that was really the big decision. Is it what I need right now? And it wasn't.
Because they're trying to learn how to win, and you want to go to a place that knows how to win?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Carolina is very resilient. They've been known for being resilient. I mean, I remember in 2013, they started off slow and then won 10 straight. Then they come in the year later, I believe, get in the playoffs at 7-6-1 or whatever it is, and then win a playoff game. They have a history of being resilient. Coach Rivera is a proven guy, and Cam is a star. So, you know. And then you got Luke Kuechly. Like, who don't want to play with Luke Kuechly?
The team that you just left, one of the guys you mentored, you mentioned, is that what you were looking for now was a team that had vets, and you didn't want to be in that mentor role.
Right.
Well, the team that you just left, you were a major mentor to one Jameis Winston. What does he do now without Gerald McCoy in his ear, without Gerald McCoy talking and pulling him like, do it this way?
Well, I mean, when you're in your fifth year in the NFL, it's time to grow up.
Right.
And I believe that I've laid a big enough foundation for him. And I talked to Jameis the other day. He still picks up the phone and he calls me. And Jameis knows that the relationship we have is bigger than football. Right. So he knows I'll be watching him and I'll be checking in on him. In the locker room, there's a lot of young guys. I don't know who's going to take over that role. I really don't know. But he knows he can always pick up the phone and call me, and I'll be watching him.
Isn't it time for him to take over the role that you took over with him and be the mentor and be the steadying force. You said it's his 5th year.
Yeah.
It's time to grow up. It's time to be the player that they drafted you number 1 overall to be. Isn't that his time now?
It is. I mean, you're in your 5th year as a starting quarterback. It is time. And I believe that everything he's been through up to this point is for a reason. And where he's at now, me knowing Jameis, he's ready to take the next step. It's just about, will he do it?
So another guy that I've known for a long time who still has growing up problems is Deshaun Jackson. And he's now back to Philadelphia. How much will he help them?
Well, D-Jack is a person who can still take the top off of defense. And he's arguably still top 5 fastest people in the NFL. I watched this guy in practice gauge a football in the air. You know, he kind of, let me go get it. And he can do this whenever he feels like. And that's, Carson just got a major weapon. D-Jack is going to hurt a lot of people's feelings.
Mainly the Cowboys.
He's going to hurt a lot of people's feelings.
Yeah.
And I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, last year you guys beat Philadelphia, but you did not win at Dallas, right?
No, we didn't.
Okay, so better team next year, Dallas or Philadelphia?
Oh, wow.
Oh,
I'm gonna have to go. I'm gonna have to go with Philly.
Eagles.
I'm gonna have to go with Philly.
Just because of D-Jack?
Yeah, I think he helps put them over the top on the offensive side of the ball. I think they had a lot of struggle on the offensive side of the ball. Carson's healthy. He should be feeling really healthy now.
Yep.
He's really healthy, and wealth to go along with it.
So are you suggesting that Carson Wentz is better than Dak Prescott?
Yes.
Whoa! We got a big yes!
He ain't better than that one.
No hesitation.
He better than that.
Because of what?
I just believe what he brings. I mean, here I'll just say this: before Carson Wentz's injury, he was going to be the MVP of the league, and then he got injured. It's an ACL, and in pro sports, it is very hard, especially as a mobile quarterback, to get that confidence. Because as a mobile quarterback, you don't see Aaron Rodgers looking around and looking at his leg. It's just a feel. It's just, that's how they move around. You just can sense it, you can feel it. But when you're worried about, well, if I plant here, will my knee feel like this? If I plant there, will my knee feel like that?
Correct.
It took a second to get back in that groove.
It took a second.
But,
okay.
I mean.
Well, 2 seconds he had to play against Dak last year, and he lost both times to Dallas. I don't know how that happened.
Did he lose to Dak, or did he lose to that
He
great
lost to
defense they
Dak.
had?
He lost to Dak.
That's what it was.
Twice.
That's what
Dak
it was.
outplayed
Dallas
him
has
completely.
a really good defense.
Yeah,
a lot of young guys.
Linebackers who can
Ryan
run.
Marinelli, he got them rolling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, quick thought on your Oklahoma Sooners. They have produced 2 straight Heisman winners. Is it possible Jalen Hurts would be 3 straight?
Without a doubt.
There we go. Now we got somebody
We
talking.
doing good.
Yeah.
Then when we part ways.
Well, you had
doubt.
Jalen Hurts, who was in the conversation.
He was.
When he was in Alabama.
That is
and
correct.
Nick Saban is a defensive guy.
Yep.
Now you have Lincoln Riley, who's
Oh.
an offensive guy.
He is.
His first year, he went to the college football playoffs.
He did.
Second year, college football playoffs.
Hey,
2
wait.
Heisman Trophy winners, and then you bring in another guy who was in the conversation
Aha.
with a defensive coach. Now
Yep.
you have an offensive-minded coach. They don't play defense in the Big 12 no more.
No.
I'm just being honest. They just don't play defense no more, do they?
No.
No.
Is he a proficient enough passer to be able to do what the other 2 did?
Oh, Lincoln will make him one. He'll make him
Yep.
one.
It's all about Lincoln.
Yeah.
Coach.
He's the
Lincoln will
Heisman
make him
maker.
one.
Yep.
Lincoln will make him
We
one.
got this.
It's
He's
going to
gonna
be
make
fun
it
to
easy.
watch this college season unfold,
I can't wait.
and it's going to be fun to watch this NFL season unfold.
Yeah, I can't
I
wait.
hope that we get some of your games this year, especially Panthers, Bucks. That would be fun.
That'll
Thank
work.
you
Go
so
back
much
and
for
see us,
All
bro.
right,
Yeah.
thanks. All right.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate
Thank
you having me.
Undisputed will be back in just a moment.
No mercy.
Time for our final topic of the day. Kawhi Leonard just won his 2nd title and Finals MVP. Now he's getting congrats from an unlikely source. Kawhi's former Spurs teammate, Tony Parker, told The Athletic he was, quote, so happy for Kawhi and that the honors are well-deserved. Of course, Skip remembers well when Parker called Kawhi out last year in San Antonio over his bruised quad injury, saying his own quad was 100 times worse. Shannon, do you believe Parker is sincere in his happiness for
I call
Kawhi?
bull jive.
Thank you.
Just some bull jive.
Yeah,
because Tony Parker called and said the man, his injury was 100 times worse.
Yep.
Tony Parker believes that Kawhi Leonard, hold on, the guy that you believe sabotaged your last season in San Antonio goes and wins a championship that you believe you could have won or had a major role in determining who did win.
Correct.
But you're happy that he won one without you.
Yep.
And Tony Parker missed me with that.
Thank you very much. This was actually a PR interview to announce his new partnership with a Minneapolis-based company. He's going to man up and take over, be president of a division. So he's answering all the PR questions, and the interviewer says, before I let you go, your former teammate, blah, blah, blah. And you know how that always goes.
Yes.
Yeah, he's going to say, oh, I'm so happy for him because he's happy to have this new gig with this Minneapolis-based company.
Right.
So Tony Parker did not speak the truth.
No.
But Spurs always take the high road, even though number 2 took the low road.
He took
right
the high
out,
road.
Right
he never criticized the Spurs. He never said anything derogatory about him, even though they tried to force him to play while he was injured.
Yeah.
He just took the high road. He said, but I'm going to even go to a higher road. Give me a year.
Yeah.
Champion.
Well, he had a bruised thigh.
Board man get paid.
Yeah, way to go. Yeah.
Board man get paid.
We are out of time, guys. Great stuff today, as always. We will be back tomorrow morning at 9:30 Eastern. Have a great day, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow.
No mercy.
Thanks for listening to the Undisputed Podcast. I'm Jenny Taft. Join us again at the same time tomorrow morning, 9:30 Eastern. We'll see you then.
Fox Sports 1 of 1.